What's happening? What's up? What's happening? How's everybody doing? How's everybody doing out there? Mm. How is everybody doing out there? Mm. It's cold on the East Coast, man. It is winter time now, man. Spring is over. Fall is over. Fall is over on the East Coast, man. It is cold. Mm. Salute to salute to Pamela Henderson, man. AKA Juan Pierre. Excuse me. It's a lot going on, man. Mm. Mm. Yeah, man. A lot of a lot of stuff going on, man. A lot of stuff going on here, man.
Developing right now, we could soon learn the fate of an Aurora police officer charged in the death of Elijah McClain.
Yeah, a case that we are watching closely here at Fox 31. Lisa D'Souza joins us now live this morning. So Nathan Woodyard, his case, of course, going on for weeks now, and the jury began deliberations last week, right, Lisa?
Right. So they began for part of Friday afternoon at this point.
Smash, but it's like weird. It's like a weird smash. It's like smash, but it's like smash, but
Woodyard, his case, of course, going on for weeks now, and the jury began deliberations last week, right, Lisa?
Right. So they began for part of Friday afternoon. At this point, deliberations are going to pick up here in just about an hour and a half. And then obviously from there, we could see a verdict theoretically at any point. So that's exactly why we're in front of the courthouse here this morning, so we can be on top of this for you should any developments happen right away. Here's more background on all of this. Nathan Woodyard is charged with reckless manslaughter in the death of Elijah McClain. Friday morning, we heard closing arguments from the prosecution and defense before it was all left again in the hands of the jury deliberating for part of Friday afternoon. McClain died in 2019, days after a struggle with police and paramedics injecting him with the sedative ketamine. Neither side seems to dispute ketamine playing a role in McClain's death, but now the jury...
Yo, my man looked crazy as a bat. He didn't deserve to die. Homie looked crazy though, man.
Playing a role in McClain's death, but now the jury's really tasked with deciding if the carotid hold Woodyard used during that struggle is a factor.
Because before the defendant grabs him, he's fine. He's walking down the street and he's going home. But after the carotid, he starts developing that hypoxia. He starts developing that acidosis. He's aspirated vomit into his lungs.
He was there, but he did not kill. Ketamine is what killed Elijah McClain. It was the ketamine that killed Elijah McClain.
Now, Woodyard is suspended from the police department pending the outcome of this trial. So again, at this point, an hour and a half left before the jury is going to resume those deliberations. And then we are just going to be on standby waiting for this verdict, which again could come at any time. For now, we're live in Adams County. Lisa D'Souza, Fox 31.
All right. And we'll be checking in throughout the morning and obviously watching all day long to see where things go next. Thank you, Lisa.
Chris Vanderveen, of course, has been following the story with many of us, and the separation. Chris Vanderveen, of course, has been following the story with many of us, and the separation of these cases into three cases, the separation of the first case even into two officers getting split verdicts, that continues.
Yeah, you have three essentially distinctive trials in all of this. And now today you've just had an acquittal of now two of the three officers that were involved in the restraint, sort of the forcible restraint and the ketamine use of Elijah McClain. This trial was a little bit different, as you know, because in this trial, the officer elected to testify. Remember, in the previous round, those two officers elected not to testify. One was acquitted. Jason Rosenblatt was acquitted. Randy Rodema was found guilty of a lesser charge. In this case, maybe the decision to testify was an advantageous one for this particular officer because in the end, this is what that officer wanted to see, an acquittal.
He talked a lot about how he felt like he was going to die. He thought there was some kind of a weapon. He was scared. He was going to die in that moment, and that's why he reacted as he did. But I think there was plenty of questions about, again, the medical testimony, which is so difficult.
And really the key to this trial was the amount of emphasis that they put on the EMT, on the paramedics, in terms of that administration of ketamine. Remember that in this case, Nathan Woodyard was there at the beginning. He was very instrumental in bringing Elijah McClain down to the ground and holding him down, where there was that thought that maybe Elijah McClain was reaching for an officer's gun. That's what they say escalated this. And then he gets down to the ground, and then essentially Woodyard leaves the scene for a little bit.
Right, goes to his car.
Goes to his car, isn't even around. And his defense made a big deal out of that. They also said, look, he wasn't the one that was responsible for giving the ketamine. It was the paramedics that showed up a little bit later to give the ketamine. And obviously that presents some challenges for the next round of trials that are said to begin after all this. But in this case, it appears as if the jury did believe that in essence, the decision to give ketamine, which was, according to the coroner's testimony, the reason why Elijah McClain died, was the excess of ketamine that was given. In that case, they said that's what killed him. Woodyard didn't give him ketamine, so therefore we have to acquit Nathan Woodyard.
So the jury goes in this direction, but unless you're in a vacuum, you realize the impact that this verdict now has on people who feel that Elijah McClain.
That's horseshit. Why does this verdict have effect? Why do black people get to act like some verdict of some fucking guy they don't know? Some guy they would have called a cornball. Some guy they would have called a weirdo. Some guy who wouldn't have been invited to any of their parties. Some guy they would have looked at as if like, oh my God. Some guy who doesn't dress in designer clothes, doesn't wear Michael Jordan tennis shoes. Why do black people now get to act like, as a whole, their whole community is destroyed because this guy died in police custody, right or wrong? That's the bullshit, that we start from that starting point that, hey, this is a big deal because black people are upset about it. No, black people. Elijah McClain would have been nobody in black circles, man. And everybody has to act like this is a reasonable response to burn things down in the protest because a black guy, a white officer, was acquitted. That's a reasonable response. Now, if black people go protest and burn down the city, people are just like, hey, yeah, I mean, shouldn't have acquitted the officer if they didn't want this response. And it's madness. These black people don't give two shits about Elijah McClain.
You're in a vacuum. You realize the impact that this verdict now has on people who feel that Elijah McClain, was killed for no good reason, and so that there's people who want justice for Elijah McClain. Elijah's mother wasn't satisfied with the verdict in the first trial. She won't be satisfied with the verdict today.
Yeah, this will be a very, very difficult sort of verdict for family, for community members, for a lot of people that watch this case for a number of years. And really the headline today now is
community members. Community members. What fucking community?
Two of the three officers that had so much scrutiny put on them, two of the three officers have now been acquitted in the death of Elijah McClain. That is a big deal. Now, it hasn't gone 0 for 3. There was one officer that was found guilty, but at the end of the day, this was a decision. Remember, this was a decision that the local prosecutor initially decided not to prosecute. The Adams County District Attorney decided, we're not going to prosecute in this case. And then eventually it left it up to the state attorney general and the governor's office to sort of get involved in all of this and to sort of really, in some people's minds, put political pressure on this to review the case. And that's what led to where we are today. It'll be interesting to hear what Phil Weiser things about all this. The Attorney General thinking about, was this a good decision? I bet he'll say yes, but you can't escape.
Look at all these fucking weirdos out here protesting and shit.
Talk to me. What do you feel in this very moment?
I'm disappointed, but it's to be expected because of how the first trial went. This is their pattern, this is their practice, and they are sticking to the way that they do things.
Was this what you expected?
Yes.
This is the mother, so she can say whatever the fuck she wants. This is her son. I believe that she cares. I believe the mom cares. All you other fuckers, you don't give two shits about this fucking kid.
You're super emotional in the courtroom where you even needed to take a moment and you sat down, you stayed in the courtroom for a little longer. What was that about?
Because I wanted to hit somebody. I wanted to kick something. I wanted to take out my vengeance on the ones that murdered my son, because there is no accountability within the justice system. And today proves it once again.
But you never do. You never do get to that level. Where does that amount of poise and grace come from?
Because I'm not like them. I'm better than that. I believe in humanity. I believe in kindness, and that how we treat each other matters. Life matters. And nothing that they do or say is going to change the truth. My son was murdered by killer cops and their accomplices. And the system, the justice system, allows for them to continue with their crimes.
It was an interesting moment. The prosecutor talked to you and said, all of those jurors, they acquitted Woodyard, but they know he was wrong. They know what happened was wrong. How does something like that settle on your spirit?
They're just looking out for themselves. They don't know it's wrong, or else they would have done the right thing. To them, in their own experiences, how they reacted is how they normally react when a person of color is murdered by police officers.
Moving forward, we've got one final trial, but it could be, the big one. It looks like every expert we've heard through the first two trials have squarely placed Elijah's death on the paramedics, and finally they see their day in court. What do you expect from that trial?
It's just unfortunate that the people that stopped my son, brutalized my son, tortured my son, get away with murder, and that they're passing on what they did to the medical professionals that still were supposed to do their job. Nobody did. So it's just unfortunate that they're placing the blame and passing the buck.
We get a split verdict. We get a not guilty. We have one more trial left to go. How do you keep going on? Can you handle this?
Hoo-wee. I can handle it because Elijah was chosen and I'm called to this position. So if I allow them to change how I feel about myself, about my son, or about my purpose, then they win. And they will never win with me. I keep going because I have to. This is not the final destination. This is not the end. There is still more to do. And they will face their final judgment one day.
Final question, then I'll let you go. Do you still have faith in the justice system?
Hell no. I don't have faith in this system at all, because it lets us down, not just people of color, it lets down everybody. They don't do the right thing. They always do the bare minimum. If what happened to my son happened in a neighborhood surrounded by people of the same color as him, they all would have been found guilty. And it's just sad.
And this thought that but this is so much progress. They charged the officers, right? These officers got charges. They saw
This white lady interviewing her is she gonna get this is sick what this white lady who's interviewing her is doing. This is sick.
And this thought that but this is so much progress. They charged the officers, right? These officers got charges. They saw their day in court. Well, if you're letting them off, how much progress is that really?
There is no progress. There is no progress in lies. There is no progress in injustice. There is no progress if full accountability is not seen. There is no way this is progress. Yeah, so what? One of them got charged. One of them was found guilty. So what? They let the rest of the crew just walk with a slap on the wrist. One of them gets to get their job back. That's not progress. That's disgusting. And if the justice system in Colorado feels this is justice, they are delusional.
Does that mean you're leaving?
I didn't feel.
Does that mean you're leaving? I'm sure there's a lot of people that just are like, okay, so you're leaving, right?
Manhunt and a murder investigation coming to a dramatic end. This is our first look at how police in Ohio chased a man linked to a shooting in Bensalem. That shooting on Halloween night claiming the life of a teenager.
That's right. The suspect police were chasing took his own life. Let's head right over to Action News reporter Katie Castro live at Bensalem Police Headquarters with more on this dramatic video. Katie.
Christy and Gray, today we're getting a look at new video of the Ohio pursuit. All of this as the community continues to grieve the loss of 14-year-old Peter Romano.
They're at high rate of speed, 5th and 4th right now.
Dash cam video shows the beginning of a chase in Marysville, Ohio. Police there pursued a person of interest in a Halloween night triple shooting in Bensalem that left 14-year-old Peter Romano dead. Bensalem police say a vehicle stolen out of Bristol Township was used in the shooting. Late last week, police in Ohio recognized the car, which had been flagged as a vehicle involved in a felony. Police tried to pull the car over, and that's when the chase began. At one point, the driver ran out of the car.
It looks like they bailed on foot.
Minutes later, police found the body of the driver, 19-year-old Sean Hughes of Lower Makefield Township. He died from an apparent self-inflicted gunshot wound and was later confirmed to be the person of interest in Peter Romano's murder. Another person at
Sean Hughes? Who's Sean Hughes, man? Is Sean Hughes a glider, or was he a son, man?
the car, identified as 25-year-old Joshua Marquez, also ran out, but police were able to catch him.
Show me your hands. Show me your hands. Show me your hands. Move right here. Get on the ground. Get on the ground now.
Marquez, a convicted felon, was in possession of a gun and discarded it after the pursuit, but officers later found it. He has been arrested on weapons charges. It's unclear if he had any connection to the Bensalem shooting. Now, there's still a lot of tears and frustration.
Well, Marquez, that's a person of color, since they like using that term, person of color.
From the community as they try to understand how and why all of this happened. In the meantime, Bensalem police are continuing to investigate what happened Halloween night. Reporting live.
So we got a little closure on oh, great, an exoneration, man. This is awesome.
Or a man who was arrested and convicted in a 2006 murder is now free. Philadelphia District Attorney Larry Krasner announced the exoneration of David Sparks this afternoon. Sparks was a teen when he was convicted in the murder of Gary Hall 17 years ago in the Nicetown section of Philadelphia. Turns out there was another suspect that the defense did not know about.
We uncovered.
Hold on. What?
Or a man who was arrested and convicted in a 2006 murder is now free. Philadelphia District.
Okay, so there's a man who was arrested and convicted in a 2004 murder. He's now free. 2006 murder, he's now free. Okay.
Philadelphia District Attorney Larry Krasner announced the exoneration of David Sparks this afternoon. Sparks was a teen when he was convicted in the murder of Gary Hall 17 years ago in the Nicetown section of Philadelphia. Turns out.
So he was convicted in the murder of Gary Hall. So he's being exonerated. So that probably means he didn't do it, right? Press 1 if you think that he's being exonerated because they found out he didn't do it. Press 1 if you think he's being exonerated because they found out that he did not do it.
Sparks was a teen when he was convicted in the murder of Gary Hall 17 years ago in the Nicetown section of Philadelphia. Turns out there was another suspect that the defense did not know about.
So just because there was another suspect that the defense didn't know about, you're letting him go, which is fine. Okay, he's done 17 years on a murder. That's more than he would do now. I don't have any problem with him going home now. Just some dead nigga, right? Who cares? But I honestly, I truly don't. He done 17 years. I mean, shit. In the streets of Philadelphia, a murder. Who knows what happened? But it's just weird. It's like he's exonerated because they found out there was another suspect. Not because they found out that the other suspect did it. They're exonerating this guy because they found out there was another suspect. That's fucking bizarre, man.
Sparks was a teen when he was convicted in the murder of Gary Hall 17 years ago in the Nicetown section of Philadelphia. Turns out there was another suspect that the defense did not know about.
We uncovered information that had been withheld from the defense that pointed to an alternative suspect in the murder of Gary Hall. That information was contained in police department files related to a series of retaliatory shootings, as well as the police department file of the alternative suspect who himself was murdered.
Oh, so the other suspect was murdered. It was a series of retaliatory shooting. That's what I said, man. This was just groups of niggas shooting, groups of Sunwords shooting at other Sunwords, trying to kill Sunwords. Sunwords trying to kill Sunwords. This crew of Sunwords trying to kill that crew of Sunwords. Back and forth, back and forth. And the other suspect was murdered. So this guy's exonerated. Wow. That's crazy, man.
Detectives say Ivan Simmons, his brother, and another man, Nick Walker, were linked to Hall's murder. Sparks is expected to walk out of prison later.
So Ivan, his brother was linked to the murder too.
Later today.
The community.
They got to find a new word. Exonerated is not quite the word.
Well, a man who spent 34 years in prison for a double murder conviction in Chicago is being reunited with his family after a judge signed his certificate of innocence after his exoneration. And WGN's Alyssa Donovan is live outside the Cook County Jail with more on the fight for his freedom. Alyssa?
From the Cook County Jail, Benitez was convicted of a double murder back when he was just 18 years old in 1989. And for the last 34 years, he has maintained his innocence. This morning, based on new evidence and testimony, a judge threw out his conviction and sentence and told Benitez he could walk out of jail this afternoon.
When they told him that, you could see like somebody lift off his body.
52-year-old Francisco Frankie Benitez says he was framed by Chicago police for the 1989 shooting and killing of 2 teens in his neighborhood. Benitez was 18 years old at the time and sentenced to life in prison. But today, friends and family all smiles as they walked out of the courtroom at the Cook County Courthouse, learning that after 34 years, Benitez could come home.
Wes has been a very, very long road, and I'm glad my son is coming home.
At a hearing back in April, the court considered evidence from multiple witnesses, including 2 who actually saw the shooting, both making it clear that Frankie was not the person who committed the crime. An officer involved in the arrest also testified that he never.
Now, this is after appeal after appeal after appeal. Shout out to Joe. Salute to you, Joe. And make sure y'all hit the like button, man. Let's try to get over 100 likes early, man. This is like I'm certain this is after a bunch of appeals, like, so they've done at least 3 trials on this case. I'm sure he exhausted all of his appeals. So they're still trying a case that happened in 1989. They're trying a case that happened in 1989 in 2023. And voila, just like that. New evidence. He wasn't there, man. Wasn't him.
Including 2 who actually saw the shooting, both making it clear that Frankie was not the person who committed the crime. An officer involved in the arrest also testified that he never believed Frankie was guilty, and he always felt they arrested the wrong person. The new evidence persuaded that judge that Benitez was likely not guilty and that his confession was coerced, finding today that his murder conviction should be vacated. Benitez, not the first man to be exonerated surrounding misconduct related to 2 specific detectives within the Chicago Police Department.
This is the 3rd exoneration resulting from the investigative misconduct of Messrs. Bogucki and Schultz. The 3rd man to have a conviction vacated and come home based on actions they took as police officers to frame innocent men.
I always knew he was innocent because I was there. So I always knew he was innocent. I just never believed that it would take this long.
And Benitez will be released on bond today with some conditions. The state could choose to retry the case if they want to. Another hearing is scheduled in September, but for now.
These street life murders are so messy, and who knows, man, what the fuck happened, man. Who knows what the fuck happened, man. These street life murders are so fucking messy. And there's so much going on. People are trying to kill you. You're in the streets. You shot at them. They shot at you. Ugh. Salute to Judah 2523. Off topic, the Living Color skit last night reminded me of the Jive Turkey scene from the movie Airplane. Yeah, man. That was a funny movie, Airplane. Oh my God. That's probably where they got it from. They probably were influenced by that scene, man. I ain't gonna lie. They were probably influenced by that scene.
Some slow drive times coming in from Humble at 22 minutes, Clear Lake at 24, and 35 minutes coming in from Single Ranch.
All right, Justina, thanks. Let's go to our breaking news update right now. A homecoming event ends with a mass shooting. At least 7 people at this point are believed to be wounded.
Less than an hour ago, we spoke with a witness who's also a paramedic about what she saw. This happened at a trail ride event on FM 362 and Neville Road. Our Kathy Hernandez is live in Waller with us this morning with the latest. Kathy.
Good morning to you. Very scary moments for the thousands of people that were here for this homecoming celebration. We talked to one woman who was here. She's also a certified paramedic. She says there was chaos once those gunshots rang out. She was nearby and saw one of the victims collapse. That's when she stopped to help.
What was going through your mind?
Save him. I didn't know if there was an artery hit. I didn't know if it, and it did go through his bone. But I know he was in a lot of pain, and I know he was scared. And everybody ran away at the time, and it was a scary thing.
The all-day event was called Prairie View A&M Homecoming Trail Ride, held here on a pasture on FM 362 near Nebel. One witness tells us thousands of people were here for what was supposed to be a fun, family-friendly celebration. There was a trail.
Yo, we just had what? Didn't we just have a mass shooting at Bowie State, HBCU, Morgan State, and HBCU? I think those are the last 2 HBCU mass shootings that I'm aware of. I know we've had about at least 10 to 15 mass shootings at HBCUs this year.
Ride, live music and food trucks. Sources say someone started shooting at about 10:30 last night. Out of the 7 reported victims, 6 of them were apparently flown by Lifeline to Memorial Hermann Hospital and the medical center. 2 of the victims are possibly 13 and 8 years old. It's unclear of their injuries or their condition.
2 of the victims are 13 and 8 years old. Let me drop the link, man. We dropped the link early tonight, man. We are effing savages, man. Because this isn't like this isn't a manifesto. This guy didn't come there with intentions of shooting 7 people, including a 13 and an 8-year-old. That dude didn't come there with the express purpose of doing that. That's what makes this more savage. Press 1. That guy didn't leave the house saying, I'm going to go to Prairie View's homecoming and shoot 7 people, including a 13-year-old and 8-year-old. That just speaks to the carnal, chimp-like behavior of the Sun Man. At least if you came down there like, yo, I'm going to shoot this motherfucker up. Let me write down why I'm going to shoot it up. I'm going to go shoot it up. That would be that's just a different ballgame to come down there with no intentions of firing into a crowd of people and to get either disrespected or bumped or somebody playing with your mind, somebody acting like they know you. Somebody disrespecting you, and you just fire into a crowd of people. That's chimp-like behavior, man. These are chimpanzees, man.
at this time. That woman we spoke with says she's disappointed. Someone came out here with a gun to cause trouble. She does believe, though, they will organize the celebration again next year.
Does she think they're going to find the person? She's already talking about next year. I got a question, man. Are we going to find the person who did this? That's what I want to know. Or will this be another mass shooting on an HBCU campus where there's no suspect in custody?
I think they will plan it, but it'll be definitely stricter as far as who we allow in. And we used to have closed gate parties to where it was only Prairie View, because you don't ever hear about Prairie View in any shootings at parties. We're known as the party school. It's one of the safest schools that you can come to have fun. So I think they'll definitely just close those gates back.
According to a Facebook post from the Waller County Sheriff's Office, it reads, quote, "The mass gathering was approved by the county judge for the location of FM 362 and Cameron Road. The party promoter agreed to follow the judge's instructions." We did talk to one of our coworkers. She was also here at this event. She does say that she saw law enforcement officers here. She wasn't checked again for any weapons when she was going into the concert area, to the party area, if you would call it. She said that, again, she was not checked there, that a woman simply asked her, "Do you have a gun or a knife?" She said no, so that woman just let her on through. We did reach out to Prairie View A&M University.
The honor system never works with son words. The honor system never works with son words. They tried the fucking honor system. My God.
That she saw law enforcement officers here. She wasn't checked again for any weapons when she was going into the concert area, and to the party area, if you would call it. She said that, again, she was not checked there, that a woman simply asked her, "Do you have a gun or a knife?" She said no, so that woman just let her on through. We did reach out to Prairie View A&M University as well. They say this event was not associated with the school at all. Right now, it's unclear if anyone was arrested. We are working to get you more information. The Waller County Sheriff's Office was out here for hours during their investigation. They did not want to release any information to us. Instead, we've been calling a spokesperson for the Sheriff's Office multiple times, including just in the last 15 minutes. She has not yet responded, but we are working to get you some answers. Reporting live in Waller, Kathy Hernandez, KPRC2 News.
Kathy Hernandez.
Right now at noon, we are learning new information about the shooting at a large homecoming event near Prairie View A&M University.
We talked to visitors of the fair who go over the terrifying moments.
Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us. I'm Andy Sirota.
And I'm Haley Hernandez. Lisa is on assignment. The Walker County Sheriff's Office says 7 people, including a child, were shot late last night. Our Kathy Hernandez was in Walker all morning talking to witnesses.
It was very...
Please hit the like button. Please hit the like button. Let's get the likes up. Let's have a good night of likes. We should have over... Let's try to get up to 200. Let's try to get up to 200, man. We got 282 in the building. Let's try to get up to 200, man. Also, take the $5 challenge. Support the channel. That goes without saying. But, yeah, let's get the engagement up, man. What a strange group of people these son words are, man.
Scary moments for the thousands of people who came out here for what was supposed to be a family fun celebration. The Walker County Sheriff's Office says the victims were 4 women, 2 men, and 1 child. They say
4 women and 1 child. And in the Black community, Women and children always get hit in these mass shootings. And there's no specific special outrage for that. Like, dude, you shot 4 chicks, man, and a little kid. And 2 little kids. We heard. But now that see like they're saying 1. And there's no like, has anyone heard anything about the suspect yet? Like, it's almost as if it was a weather event. It's almost like a weather. What about the fucking guy who did the shit? Where is he? What are you doing to find him? Is the community coming forth with a gazillion leads the finest fucking guy who shot all these women and kids?
All of them were shot in the lower extremities and are expected to recover.
I looked up in the air and I saw gun smoke. So I immediately grabbed my god sister and we just booked it to the trucks, booked it to our horses, and just tried to get out of there as soon as possible, really.
Mariah Ballard is a
Okay, the guy who did the shooting, you were there. Anything?
digital producer at KPRC2. This is video she shot earlier at the Prairie View A&M Homecoming Trail Ride and Party. It was all held on a pasture on FM 360.
So these son words is down here riding horses. This looks like it would have been a safe thing. I mean, looks like it would have been a nice thing. I can see them now. Black people making a big deal because it's like black people and horses and shit. Like acting like it's special because, you know, black people riding horses, right? What's up, Marcy?
What's up, Hawk?
What are your thoughts?
I'm just checking in with the. I didn't my first time hearing about this mass shooting. But you know where I stand when it comes to, you know, this kind of stuff. It happens when you least expect it. Typically, when it, you know, you may be ill prepared, or you may just be real comfortable where you're at, and someone takes advantage of the situation. So it's unfortunate, but thankfully no one was killed.
Yeah, thankfully. These Negroes are down here on horses. This is the Sunword horse riding contingents. This should have been a safe event, man. This isn't the biker gang or the moped and the scooter Sunwords. These are the horse riding Sunwords.
62 near Neeville. Investigators say there was an argument and someone started shooting into the crowd at about 10 last night. Out of the 7 victims, 6 of them were apparently flown by Lifeline to Memorial Hermann Hospital in the medical center. The Waller County Sheriff's Office says while the county judge did approve the event, Waller County Precinct 3 constables and a private security agency handled security. Ballard says more could have been done to prevent the shooting.
I opened my purse for
More could have been done to prevent the shooting.
Like what?
White people, please over-police us. You gotta over-police us, man. Stop fucking just treating us like everybody else. Do more.
Ballard says more could have been done to prevent the shooting.
I opened my purse for her to look in, and she was like, "Do you have a gun in there? Do you have a knife in there?" I'm like, "No." And I was talking for my god sisters too. I was like, "No, we don't have anything." She's like, "Okay, well, come in. I'm tired of checking people's bags." And I know that she's waking up today. She has to be like heartbroken because somebody slipped past you with a weapon because you didn't care.
We reached out to Prairie View A&M University, and they say this event was not associated with the university.
That's funny. You go through all that hassle of checking people's bags for weapons, only to slip up and someone come in with a gun and shoot the place up.
What a tiresome, like these. There's no indication who did it. You know what I'm saying? Like, who did it? There's no talk of that part. Or is it trying to find who did it? Like, what's going on with that part of the story? Like, is there somebody that y'all looking for?
We begin with 7 people who are recovering right now after gunshots rang out during a party yesterday near Prairie View A&M University.
The shooting happened along Cameron Road in Hempstead. That's where we find Fox 26's Domely Keith. Domely.
Yeah, we're told 7 people ended up shot, including 1 child, 4 women, and 2 men, after someone opened fire here in this field where more than 2,000 people packed in for a party.
One saying 1 possible shot in the knee, 1 female, will need lifeline, GSW to the femur.
Even as 911 dispatchers call for ambulances to respond to the shooting at the party in the pasture near Prairie View A&M University, the number of gunshot victims continues to grow.
Possibly a second victim with a GSW to the neck. We believe we're going to have about 7 or 8 patients.
In fact, 5 life flight helicopters were called to rush the 7 gunshot victims to the hospital, including 1 child, 4 women, and 2 men, after shots rang out at this trail ride pasture party when a fight turned into gunfire. Party goers say they couldn't believe what they were hearing.
Most were like, pow, pow, pow.
And then I just started running.
Away from the gunshot?
Yeah.
How did someone make it into the party, which coincided with Prairie View's homecoming but was not a school event? How'd they make it in with a gun? According to this mass gathering permit, 2,500 people were expected. The promoter...
Woo! That's a lot of sun words, man, in one place, man. Gee, you gotta have a National Guard down there, man. What's up, Cook County?
What's good, man? What's the word, Ock?
Ain't nothing, man. You familiar with Prairie View, right?
Yeah, I ain't never been down there, but yeah, that's Sandra Bland, right?
Yeah, similar, same area, yeah.
That's what she was going, right? Wondering what she was going.
I think so. I think she was.
She got the coach. She got the teaching job, the job of her dreams, and threw it away at a traffic stop because she was pissed off because the cop was had a little attitude on her.
Yeah, Saint Sandra, man.
Oh yeah.
This is bizarre, man. I mean, there's no talk of who did it, or it's almost as if like it just a ghost came through and did it.
Hey, you want me to give you a description?
Yeah, give me a description, man.
All right, man. It was a male black. He had on all black and possum dreads.
And bad aim.
Yeah, or just didn't even care. Like shot it to the crowd.
Yeah, they don't give a fuck, man. I've seen videos of these things, man. It's like you know how people think like they was like shooting and like these hood mass shootings. This shit is bad watching it on video, bro. It's like they're literally not aiming or not giving a fuck. A lot of times they're running away and they got the gun pointed like backwards, like with their hand, like shooting it upside down type shit. Like I've seen it was a mass shooting like that on the west side where dude was running away and he ended up fucking killing his guy that was shooting on the side of him. He shot him right in the head because he just fucking started aiming backwards.
It's a self-correcting problem.
Yeah, man. That's us, man. Will says maybe some sunny guy got carried away with the cowboy stuff. Yeah, man. Started feeling he started he thought he was in an old episode of Bonanza or something, man. That's probably what happened.
The promoter was required to have 35 security officers, including half who are licensed Texas peace officers, and attendees were to be searched and checked with a metal detector wand for weapons.
No, they just pat everyone down. And if you have a purse, they check your purse and stuff.
Waller County Judge Trey Duhan, who approved the permit, says in this statement, quote, obviously the organizers failed to meet permit conditions on a number of issues and an investigation is ongoing, not only into the shooting, but the circumstances surrounding the event. Now, the sheriff's office echoes that, saying none of the security protocols that were established in the permit were followed. All 7 people who were shot are expected to survive. Reporting live in Waller County.
Still know who did it and what are you doing to find them? Y'all had a shootout in Chicago, man.
A breaking news update tonight on a police shooting in the South Shore neighborhood. A suspect is dead, and the police officer who was shot is out of the hospital tonight.
Our Jermont Terry has been following the developments all day. He's live now from the University of Chicago Medical Center. Jermont.
Joe and Erica, there's been a constant flow of officers and investigators coming and going here at the University of Chicago Hospital. As you mentioned, this is where that officer shot in the arm was recovering. But tonight, as you mentioned, he is out of the hospital recovering now at home. Yet there are many questions about this deadly shootout. Monday night, Chicago detectives went door to door in the dark, looking for any evidence. They came to 73rd and Dante in the South Shore community hours earlier when this frantic call echoed on police radio. Chicago police were dealing with an officer down, shot on the job.
Shots fired and by the police. We have an officer struck by gunfire.
That officer hit in the arm. His partners didn't wait for an ambulance. They rushed him in this unmarked police cruiser to the hospital, double parking on the sidewalk.
10-4, got you transporting the partner to the hospital.
Police Superintendent Larry Snelling says officers spotted the suspect walking down the street. They tried to stop him. Police say the suspect took off running. 4 officers followed. While chasing him, CPD says the man pulled out a gun and fired first. That's when the officer was hit. At that point, 3 officers returned fire, hitting the suspect.
There is a lack of respect for law enforcement at this time, and we see it every single day, but there's a lack of respect right now for life in general.
As Chicago police still investigate here on the scene, we do know that COPA is leading this investigation. And one thing they'll look at, this pod camera, which sits right here at the intersection of 74th and Dante, key evidence in this investigation.
It's high time that we stood up and stood up against these violent offenders, especially these repeat offenders.
Police have not released any information about the suspect who later died at the hospital, nor have they revealed why the officers originally wanted to talk to this man.
You know that area, man? I'm sure you do.
Yeah, those my guys.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, those my guys. Great guys, man. Great guys.
Slave catchers.
Hey, man, chill out now. They're my people, man. Those are good. Those are really, really good people, man. Real good people. Yeah, that's unfortunate.
Dude, tonight at 10, we are learning more.
Yeah, I mean, the cop seems to be all right, man. He's like he's gonna make it.
New tonight at 10, we are learning more about the woman killed in a robbery at an ATM in the southwest suburb.
And the suspects police believe are responsible may be connected to robberies across the area. Our Charlie DeMar spoke to her family tonight about what happened. Charlie.
And Joe and Erica, family says that Johnny Klein was simply taking out money at an ATM to pay her bills when she was shot and killed over the weekend. Klein worked several jobs to make ends meet and provide for her 2 kids. It appears that the shooting was an attempted robbery. Now, Johnny Klein was near the 6800 block of
Mud Shark. She had that sharky look, man. Is that how girls look in Chicago, even if they're not mud sharks?
Hell nah, that's that mud shark look. Nah, girls in Chicago, like the white girls in Chicago are they glider, dog. They preppy, like I'm talking about like Katy Perry and all that shit. That's how they look. Now the ones like that, she definitely, you know what she on. But this a southwest suburb. What southwest suburb is this? Worth? Oh yeah, Worth got like trailer trash and shit out there. Yeah, this like this is right outside the city. And this is a part where it's like poor gliders and Hispanics and shit.
Yeah, she looks a little trashy, but she didn't deserve to die, man. You know, gotta say that now. I mean, you only have to say that with sons, but we'll say that since she's a trashy glider. So trashy gliders are kind of like honorary sons, you know. It's not some people are poor people and homosexuals and everybody, they lump themselves in those groups. So let's give her she didn't deserve to die.
out
She's in
money
a
at an
protected
ATM
class.
to pay her bills when she was shot and killed over the weekend. Klein worked several jobs to make ends meet and provide for her 2 kids. It appears that the shooting was an attempted robbery. Now, Johnny Klein was near the 6800 block of West 111th Street Saturday afternoon when police say they found her fatally shot. Now, 2 people from Harvey were arrested, and both suspects are linked to several recent armed robberies.
2 people from
Harvey. That's
Those
son.
son words.
That's the stand, dog.
Yeah, I know.
Harvey is like rough, bruh. Harvey is on some. If it was a little bit bigger, that motherfucker would be East St. Louis. They just don't have the population to keep up. But man, if you ride through Harvey, man, that shit look like a place in fucking war torn Afghanistan, bruh.
Yeah, I've been hearing about Harvey for a while, man. Harvey is the trenches.
Across the Chicagoland area and also northwest Indiana. That's according to the Worth Police Department. We spoke to Klein's brother and sister-in-law earlier tonight, who say their family is ripped apart over her death. They remember Johnny as a devoted mother who had a huge heart and infectious laugh.
It seems like Johnny was the end to the extra end.
Yeah, she took him out.
She took him out.
Somebody took their life because they needed money more.
They weren't taking her money.
They didn't take her money. They didn't get her money.
They weren't taking her money. She wasn't going to let it happen.
She works too hard for it.
She worked
and
really hard.
It cost her life for it.
She wasn't going to let nobody take her money. Johnny was like, shit, I ain't going out like that. And some men said, okay, cool.
She took him out.
Somebody took their life because they needed money more.
They weren't taking her money.
They didn't take her money. They didn't get her money.
They weren't taking her money. She wasn't going to let it happen.
She works too hard for it.
She worked
and
really hard.
It cost her life for it.
And Worth police also telling us that they found several guns while making the arrest, and one of those guns is believed to be the weapon used in the shooting that killed Johnny Klein. She was 30.
They found several guns while making the arrest. Those dudes are cooked. You think that's enough evidence for to get a? This is Cook County, right?
That is definitely Cook County, man. So it should be enough. It should be enough.
2 years old. Family has started an online GoFundMe to raise money for the funeral and also to support her children. Live in the newsroom, I'm Charlie DeMar, CBS 2 News. Joe.
So sad, man. Sad that she got taken out like that, man. Go to DC, man. Let's see what's going on in D-Dot, man.
Tonight, it was a carjacking and shooting that remains the talk of one corner of Capitol Hill. One mystery person is taking an extra action to make sure the neighborhood knows exactly what happened.
Fox 5's David Kaplan in Northwest Forest and joins with more on what's happening there.
Someone is posting laminated signs on the specific corner where this carjacking and shooting happened with specific updates on the case. It is part informing the neighborhood about what happened, part encouraging people to cooperate and help police try and figure out who did this. It is a physical sign, but it is also a metaphorical one of people's frustrations with violent crime in the city. Did you hear about what happened on Friday night?
I heard what happened Friday night.
Elizabeth Nelson has lived near 14th and A Streets Northeast for decades. She says she parked her car 10 minutes before the shooting Friday night. A handful of neighbors said they heard one shot.
I didn't hear any screaming or additional shots. So I just kind of went on about my business.
DC police say a man was making food deliveries, got back to his car when he was approached by a suspect demanding his keys, which he handed over. Before the suspect drove away, the victim said he was going to call police. Then police say the suspect fired a single shot at...
Oh. what was the need to tell the guy that you're going to call police when you can just call police? I mean, this is obviously a glider. Obviously a glider or a non-black just said that. There was just no need to tell the son, man, that you're going to call the police. Like, he knows you're going to call the police. It's understood. Salute to, but just that dialogue sparked a reaction. It was like you spoke to him, so he spoke back to you with his gun. Salute to Will, man. He said, so let me get this straight. And then just shot a bunch of some people that were riding horses and nobody cares who did it. Yeah, that's what happened, man, in Prairie View. So far. We're going to try to figure out what happened out there. But so far, no answers. No one seems to care. You're already talking about next year's event. Salute to fear resides within us. Says, hear ye. Please accept my offering of 10 hot ones. You the man, Jack. Can't wait for the day we can celebrate when blacks reject the culture of niggatry. That ain't never gonna happen. Put it like that. Like that. We can, you know how they say never say never? That's never going to happen.
Kind of went on about my business.
DC police say a man was making food deliveries, got back to his car when he was approached by a suspect demanding his keys, which he handed over. Before the suspect drove away, the victim said he was going to call police. Then, police say the suspect fired a single shot at the victim's leg, according to a neighbor, sending him to the hospital. This happened late Friday. Since then, someone in the neighborhood's posted 2 signs to a pole on the block. One sign details what happened and has the case number and DC police contact if a neighbor that saw anything can help the investigation. The second sign, letting neighbors know the vehicle was recovered, something Fox.
Who you think put this sign up, man? Give me the race of the person that put this sign up, man.
Glider or crouching tiger.
I mean, if this was a Sun person that put this sign up, man, you can slap me around and call me Susie, man. I ain't even gonna lie.
Hell no, you already know. You already know, bruh. Motherfucker, listen. This we know the first part. That's it. It was a carjacking that occurred right here, November 3rd. We wouldn't know the time. We wouldn't have put the time. And we definitely wouldn't have put the when it was recovered, what street, and the right address, and none of that. We wouldn't have followed up on anything.
And that's across all like strata of blacks. Like that's, and there's some upper middle class. It's all types of blacks in DC. It doesn't matter. We just don't operate like that in any class of blacks.
Yeah, the only ones. Well, I would say, I can't even say the fucking professionals and the politicians. Like, you know what I'm saying? We just watched we didn't watch in 2020. We watched all the police chiefs jump the gun and talk shit about they fucking cops before the video even come out. So it's just like, yeah, you might be right, bro.
Yeah, the doctors, black lawyers, they wouldn't have done this. Yeah, it's just this was definitely.
Hey, I think the most crooked motherfuckers got to be sister politicians, though, right?
By far,
yeah,
treasurers especially.
That shit is bad, bro. Every time. But go ahead.
This is a good thing that they had the case number on it. Salute to whoever did this. Salute to you, Glider.
Friday. Since then, someone in the neighborhood's posted 2 signs to a pole on the block. One sign details what happened and has the case number and DC police contact if a neighbor that saw anything can help the investigation. The second sign, letting neighbors know the vehicle was recovered, something Fox 5 confirmed with police Sunday night. Elizabeth Nelson saw the signs when we interviewed her.
Sure, I think it's productive for people to know, and I think it's probably productive for the police to have the video. So So it seems like a sensible idea to me.
According to DC police data, assault with a dangerous weapon is up 4% year to date. Carjackings up 74%. One neighbor tells me off camera.
Hey, now that's crazy. That is crazy. Like, even if that goes from, like, this is DC, so I know it's not like how like the small towns be like murders up 60%. It'd be like it went from 6 to 13 type shit, whatever. This
Right.
shit, this DC, bro. If it went up 70%, that's a fucking number, dog.
Yeah, and I would love to know how much it's up since 2019. Because think
Ooh, they'll
about the
never tell you
rise
that.
in 2020.
Oh, they'll never
So,
tell you that. Didn't the
so
FBI stop giving the fucking statistics and shit?
yeah, but it skyrocketed after 2020
Oh, it
to
did.
2021. So it's
I
up
remember that.
74% from that.
Hey, when I was growing up, all the way up until 2020, bro, like the city of Chicago, all the local news and all this other shit, they used to report on every Chicago public school student that got killed. So they, anytime like a teen will get killed or whatever, they'd be like, this is the 7th Chicago public school student that was killed. And they'll release the numbers and shit. It'd be like, damn, it was 16 CPS students that got killed. They stopped doing that shit after 2020. During 2020, they have not done that anymore.
Yeah, because the number's probably embarrassing. It's probably frightening.
Year to date, carjackings up 74%. One neighbor tells me off camera she's frustrated with DC Council that while, yes, there have been some actions taken to improve public safety, she feels as though the urgency of this situation is not being met by DC Council specifically. Fox 5 did speak with someone who knows who is posting the signs. That person tells Fox 5 the sign poster does not want to do an interview right now. Rather, they want the signs to do the talking.
The 12-year-old accused of trying to carjack an off-duty federal officer in D.C. is ordered into psychiatric treatment. That's the incident that resulted in another would-be carjacker who was just 13 years old being shot and killed by the man he was trying to rob. Lily Zhang's on the story tonight. She's live from D.C. Superior Court with the latest in this case. Lily?
Well, Jim, that hospital placement instead of a juvenile detention center, that was recommended by a doctor who performed a psych evaluation on this 12-year-old suspect. Now, he didn't disclose what was part of this evaluation, what he found, but we do know that both the government as well as the defense agreed on this. That 12-year-old's mother was the one who turned him in to police last week. This was after images of him were shared by authorities as they looked for him after the D Street shooting. Now, prior to the hospital placement order, there was discussion on whether the preteen suspect should stay at DC's Youth Services Center. The defense raised concerns about bullying by older teens. Violence is a concern.
So
come on, bro.
They're concerned about bullying by older teens.
Come on,
but
bro.
he was out here robbing adults.
See, now just think about like if this shit would have went the other way and they would have killed that, you know what I'm saying, that Fed versus the Fed, you know what I'm saying, turning the gun on them, whatever. I'd be pissed off if that motherfucker, now you crazy, now you gotta go into this, you done killed my dad, my brother, my best friend, and now you crazy, huh? You know what I'm saying? Like it's like it's really no love lost on this situation because the only person that like got hurt was like the other fucking team type shit, you know. But like, it's just come on, bro. Now you crazy.
You know, now they're saying he's crazy after talking to him. So he's not crazy. I'm sure this is part of the DC. They're trying to get this kid off. It's just like remember the carjacking with the two girls. They killed the Uber Eats driver.
They flipped over and shit.
Yeah, and they both got probation. So it's like they're working on getting this kid off. This is just part of the
I mean, he obviously get off, but it's just crazy because if we go to this kid's social media, he's probably already a rapper. He's probably already talking about the fucking adult lifestyle, fucking bitches, getting them pregnant. He got multiple pictures with guns. He probably got pictures with wads of fucking money, chains, normal ass fucking lives, talking shit about the ops. it's all the same shit. He's not slow. He's not bad. This is
Hey, I'm surprised that family of the guy who got killed by those two carjackers. I'm surprised they didn't sue the city for letting them off with just probation.
Who got killed by the two carjackers?
Yeah, when they flipped the car.
Oh yeah. I don't know if they sued the city. I know that.
I'm sure they got something going.
They should.
Yeah,
that's outrageous.
Yeah,
but
that was
yeah,
bad.
but
Didn't he then he what was that? The car landed on him or some shit or something?
yeah. And they were caught on the scene too. Those girls they were caught right there.
And the girl was already on probation for carjacking, right?
Yep.
Whoo.
But
that was worse than the New Orleans one.
Nah, Linda Fricky.
When they ripped her arm off, the car landed on him versus the car her arm off.
That's worse.
Nah, Linda Fricky was worse. Her arm ripped off, and she was laying in the street with her arm, and they kept driving down the street with her arm in the car.
Oh, I forgot they had her arm in the fucking door. I forgot.
Yeah, nah, that was worse.
Yeah.
This one right here, everybody was on the scene, and when the cops showed up, it was a very high, you know what I'm saying? It was like it happened, boom, and the cops just converged on it.
Just think about that though. That was worse. That was graphic. You know what I'm saying? A motherfucker getting carjacked, a car flipping over and landing on him is not the worst thing that happened in the last year.
No, that was bad. Now, don't get me wrong, it was bad, but son, and these all kids. And I don't believe for 1 second that this kid right here, if you let him go today, he wouldn't carjack somebody next week.
Is it accurate to say he's a kid? Because that's not kid activity.
At 12, yeah, he's a kid, but he's a bad kid. He's a demon kid. 12 years old is a fucking kid. But now, if he was like 18 or something, they would still call him a kid. That's different. But this kid's 12. This little motherfucker don't even have hair on his dick.
Discussion on whether the preteen suspect should stay at DC's Youth Services Center. The defense raised concerns about bullying by older teens. Violence is a concern that was previously shared to DC Council member Trayon White, who toured the facility today. He says that staffing is also an issue that was disclosed to him, along with access to programs.
This is the Department of Youth Rehabilitation Service. They're supposed to be rehabbing. The kids don't feel like it. What did he say? He said, we not getting rehabbed in here. Ain't no rehab going on.
Now, we also reached out to Youth Services for comment on these concerns. We haven't heard back yet. As for this preteen suspect, he is due back in court in 2 weeks. Jim, Marina.
The man arrested for brutally stabbing a 75-year-old woman after she entered a Temple.
So we supposed to listen to the juvenile delinquent on what rehab is?
Yeah.
Clown world. It's clown world, man.
Like, that's the dumbest shit I've ever heard. So we not getting rehab in here. We not, like, they know what the fuck a rehab is, what it consists of, what it's supposed to look like, what it's supposed to feel like.
Right.
So yeah, that's it. They said we not getting rehab in here, so now we got to revamp the whole fucking system.
Yeah. And they ain't there stabbing each other and bullying each other. In DC is a lot of bullies. So it's like bully culture in DC is just normal. Everybody's a fucking bully, man. So yeah, those kids are in there. They ain't no fucking those kids don't know. There's no possibility of rehabbing. Even if you had all the programs and all the fucking cuddly and fucking counseling and all the shit you in the world, those fucking kids are menaces, man.
The man arrested for brutally stabbing a 75-year-old woman after she entered a Temple Hills takeout restaurant appeared in court today and was held without bond.
There are big questions tonight. Do we know why this happened? Let's get to Stephanie Ramirez.
We did not get that answer in court today. We did hear from the suspect's family. I'll get to that. But first, I want to also say we spoke to the victim today. Her family saying really it's a miracle she could even talk, that she had to undergo trachea surgery, suffering multiple injuries to her throat area. 75-year-old Elda Perez Robinson also told me she has at least 20 staples in her arm. Doctors unable to stitch her up. She was injured that badly.
I was just going to the store to pick up some Chinese food
for my family. That's the only thing that was on my mind. And I walk in, and there's 2 doors. So he blocked the second door, so I couldn't go into the restaurant. And he punched me in the face and proceeded to knife me. I had no idea what was going on.
It was at around 8:15 at night last Wednesday when security video captured the suspect following the 75-year-old victim into Eddie Leonard's takeout in Temple Hills. Perez Robinson says 30-year-old James Minor blocked a door, punched her in the face, and then stabbed her multiple times before taking her car keys, but he apparently didn't get very far. In court documents released today, we learned the family was instrumental in capturing Minor, the suspect here, contacting police once they saw their loved one's photo in the news. Police say Minor.
Okay, so the family saw the footage and they were like, "Oh yeah, that's our family member." Salute to the family for doing that, though, man. That's very rare.
And they
Salute to the
stand his ass. They probably wanted him out the fucking house.
Yeah, man. Look at that son word, man. To walk up on a 75, he got his hair cut, he got his beard done. That motherfucker ain't crazy. It's funny how like why ain't one string pulled all the way down and the other string around his neck? Like if you crazy, you for a crazy motherfucker, you sure do how to get your fucking hair cut and get your fucking goatee trimmed and get fresh clothes. I want to see a motherfucker like walking around like this and shit, like Thriller and shit. If you really crazy,
and then they know who to target, you know. Because this motherfucker ain't pulling up on neither one of us.
Or neither one of them 12-year-olds. Not he wouldn't have did that to the 12-year-old or the 13-year-old in DC. Listen, man, let me tell you something, man. These dudes walk right past Sun Teens, man, and get like Sun Teens play games with these niggas. Like Sun Teens, or throw something at him and then he'll turn around and everybody be looking the other way. Like, I mean, some teens just, like he'll be walking in there, start, walking his path and shit, make him, walk around and shit, or spit. In DC, what they do a lot is they see you coming and they'll spit in your path. Do they do that in Chicago?
Nah, that's some that's some other shit. Nah, they don't do all
that's DC. DC dudes do that. If you walking towards a group of dudes in DC, they one of them gonna spit in your path, like in the path that you walking in.
See, in Chicago, like I'm not like if you not in this shit, or the only time I'm afraid to be around like some people and shit is in like big groups when everybody drinking and I don't know everybody type shit, and then that's a possibility of like a mass shooting. But if it's just me, I go anywhere. If it's just me type shit, you know what I'm saying? Obviously I'm avoiding it, but I ain't never been tried. I ain't never been nothing. I'm like a big dude, you know what I'm saying? So it's just like,
how tall are you?
6'3".
Okay, yeah. Listen, man, when you yeah, definitely people not gonna really try you, but the thing about it is with some words, once they feel like they know you, they'll try you though, right?
Depending on your character, depending on your traits, depending on if they know, you know what I'm saying, if they know you could get wild too, what they say here, like he could get wild too type shit. And a lot of like nowadays the only people I'm hanging around is people in my profession and shit too, because it's just like everybody else is just pretty fucked up.
Yeah, familiarity with sons, and it really don't matter. See, in DC, it really don't matter about if you can get wild too, because familiarity just breeds like contempt. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's like.
I mean, you right though. I always said it. I say one thing for sure, one thing for certain. East Coast dudes are the grimiest. Y'all the grimiest of the regions. Like East Coast guys are the grimiest. DC, Philly, Baltimore, New York. Y'all a different type of thing. Y'all might not be the most like overly aggressive. Like I feel like Chicago guys are overly like they overly try to like show their toughness. You know what I'm saying? They wear their toughness on their sleeve and shit like that. But like they need the gun, and they not doing all the taunting type shit. They're more of a sneaky type of shit. They'll watch you and catch you slipping, or you'll get into it with them one-on-one. You'll be a fight, then they pull a gun. Like the East Coast cats just grimy.
The thing about East Coast is that the gun laws on the East Coast are so strict, man, that if you walk out the house with a gun on you, man, you a bad motherfucker just for doing that. Press 1.
Oh, see, yeah, I don't know much about that, but I do know New York, they gave motherfucking Plexico Burris all them years for shooting his fucking self.
Yeah.
So, you know what I'm saying? I was just like, yeah, nah.
Hey, can we just
ain't no FOID card in DC, and like it's like the gun laws are strict, so it's like when you toting, you know what I'm saying, if you get caught with that thing, you in some deep shit. Historically, now things are changing, but historically, if you get caught with that, you in some deep shit. So the guy who's toting that, he on some shit.
Yeah, can we appreciate the fact that we have a society where this elderly woman was able to go out at 8 p.m. to pick up Chinese food?
Yeah.
And this thug had to just screw things up for everybody.
Yeah, man. I mean, 75-year-old woman, he saw, and he didn't do it in like a place where it's like hidden. He did it in a brazen, like these carryouts in DC, be people in there, man. Like, so he stabbed this woman up in front of at least 4 or 5 people, man. I mean, to do that, man, is just like so disrespectful, man. If he hadn't held the door open for this lady, that would have been like, if somebody was standing there and seen that old lady come towards the door and seen him and he didn't hold the door for her, people would have looked at him like, ugh, he stabbed her up.
It was at around 8:15 at night last Wednesday when security video captured the suspect following the 75-year-old victim into Eddie Leonard's takeout in Temple Hills. Perez Robinson says 30-year-old James Minor blocked a door, punched her in the face, and then stabbed her multiple times before taking her car keys, but he apparently didn't get very far. In court documents released today, we learned the family was instrumental in capturing Minor, the suspect here, contacting police once they saw their loved one's photo in the news. Police say Minor took his own brother's car. As his sibling was speaking with a detective, the 30-year-old was later arrested without incident. He was held without bond today on attempted first-degree murder and other charges. But today, his public defender did not fight to have him released, said her client understood what was happening, and did not ask for a mental health evaluation. Now, I did hear from a member of the suspect's family this afternoon, the family saying that they were extremely shocked and devastated by what happened, and in part of a statement to Fox 5 wrote, "We extend our sincere apologies to the victim, her family, and the community at this difficult time. Even though there is no justification for his actions, James has a history of mental illness and has been seeking psychological medical help for a long time to no avail. We believe the system failed James, his victim, and all parties involved."
System failed him. Shame on the system, man, for failing his brother, man.
How it failed him?
They
didn't crank him out.
He needed medical. He needed mental health. He needed psychological and medical help for a long time, and they wouldn't force it on him.
So that's what they want. So that's what they want. They ultimately want this stuff forced upon everybody who they think needs it.
Yeah, bring back a sane asylum. When they closed St. Elizabeth's in DC, I think it was 97. They closed St. Elizabeth's. They need to open that joint back up, man. That was a place where a lot of motherfuckers. I mean, a lot of motherfuckers was in there, man. Like DC's mental institution was notorious, man. It was overcrowded.
He wasn't crazy.
Yeah,
He
yeah, a
was-
lot
he
of
was-
crazy motherfuckers.
I'm saying he wasn't crazy. This guy, he wasn't crazy. He was just a scumbag.
Yeah, and a scumbag and crazy. A scumbag and crazy, but there's a lot of dudes on the streets of DC right now that do need to be in a mental institution.
He is due back in court December 1st. Guys, more on the victim here. Perez Robinson told me she's hoping to get out of the hospital tomorrow. She also told me she is the caretaker for her handicapped nephew and the nephew's son, and that because of the attack, she won't be able to do much, but says she plans to do her best to help them after going through all of this. Guys.
DC police are looking for suspects wanted for a robbery and shooting in Northeast. Both incidents happened back on October 4th. Police say two suspects approached one victim on Nanny Helen Burroughs Avenue Northeast, took out a gun and demanded a man's property. He gave it to them and then ran off. Hours later on 49th Place Northeast, the suspects fired shots, hitting one person. They are expected to be okay. If you recognize these two, you're asked to please call police.
Police making an arrest after a 4-year-old.
Wait, we still in DC?
Nah, this is Miami right here. That was DC the last one. My God. Let me get to the Steven Crowder story, man, before it get too late, man. This
Manifesto.
Yeah.
Hey, did you watch it? Was you watching it live this morning?
What?
I caught it.
I caught it live this morning too. Yeah.
No, I wasn't watching it live, man. I didn't catch it, man.
Dude had like 200K watching that shit at one time. Like 400.
Wow.
Tonight, nearly a month after Metro Police shot and killed the gunman in that case, they still won't say exactly why the school was targeted. Fox 17 News' Caitlin Miller live now at Metro Police headquarters with what she's learned.
This is back when it happened.
Scott, Metro Police are the lead investigators, so they will be the agency to determine when this manifesto is released and to what extent. But some leaders like Senator Bill Hagerty say that this should have already been released. Senator Bill Hagerty says on Fox and Friends this morning that people deserve to see the Covenant school shooters manifesto.
It's been very perplexing to all of us involved. It seems that certain information is flooded into the marketplace immediately if it fits the narrative, so to speak. If the information does not fit the narrative, it seems to get suppressed.
Metro Police say they haven't released the manifesto yet because it's an open investigation. Fox 17 News went to retired New York Police Department Sergeant Joseph Jackalone for answers. Sergeant Jackalone has been a part of criminal investigations for more than 20 years and says there are a lot of things happening behind the scenes in the investigation other than the manifesto, such as going through phone records, surveillance video, and other factors that he says are time-consuming.
From the police department's perspective, you have to make sure that you don't release something and then there is somebody out there that's part of the plan that you didn't know about. And then it's part of their time to act, so to speak.
Jackalone says there's always a civil part too, the chance of ensuing lawsuits. What he's more concerned about is the fact that the debate about this manifesto is fueling hatred online.
People talk about double standards and if this person was this or was that, and you get a lot of angry people. And I think the police department is very concerned about that.
Sergeant Jackalone wishes people would be patient, but Senator Hagerty argues people need to understand what was in the mind of this sick.
Yo, she's just walking through. She. What is it? It was a guy,
That's a
right?
she. That's a woman.
It was a girl that's trying to be a man.
Where was this cop when what was this cop when the shooting in Buffalo happened? They released that manifesto quickly.
Yeah.
Where is he then?
Metro Police told me over the phone today that they have no timeline as to when this manifesto would be released and to what capacity.
So this was 6 months ago.
Which is wild. They just like they expected like everybody to just like, you know, forget about it and just let it go type of thing. They were really just not trying to release it because of the narrative, which is a sick thing, bro. Like gliders, y'all.
Well, today, 3 pages of
gliders lost the country, bro, because like y'all lives were in danger, you know?
Nah, these aren't gliders. These are Marxists.
Gliders. Still, like they're still fucking gliders, man. But they listen, man.
I mean, they're in BLM as well.
Yeah, and they're still fucking gliders, man. Gliders think a certain way, sons think a certain way, hombritos think a certain way. That mindset of just giving away your country
is crazy.
That's a glider mindset, man.
This is crazy because, like, what if she was like, you know, the guy, the last guy, he said, you know, what if they're not acting alone and it's other people? Like, what if this person was not acting alone and gliders just didn't know that private school glider kids are fucking basically the targets, and the next person that was with her went to another fucking preppy private school and did the same thing to finish off the job type shit. Nobody like gave them alert or nothing. They would have closed down. If they would have released this manifesto, the city would have been forced to literally have probably 8 cop cars outside of every fucking private school, or it would have been like remote learning for the private schools.
Yeah, that's horse shit. It wasn't that serious, man. They acting like she got a sleeper cell or some shit, man. This woman did. The reason they didn't put it out is because she's trans, and she's protected.
Well, today, 3 pages of the Covenant Shooter's so-called manifesto were displayed online by conservative talk show host Steven Crowder. We have a reaction from those at the school and at the state capitol. Good evening and welcome to News 2 at 6. I'm Bob Mueller.
And I'm Haley Wilgus. News 2's Nikki McGee spoke directly with Crowder today. She has more about what was in these pages and why he says it was important that they be released. Nikki.
Well, Bob, Haley, conservative host Steven Crowder continued to double down today that these pages are authentic. He says a detective from Metro Police shared them with his source, and his investigative team then came here to Tennessee to verify them. Now, one date dated on March 27 talks about a, quote, death day, and Hale was reportedly ready for these attacks. Another page marked February 3rd refers to a white privilege reference, as well as derogatory words used towards kids, including a slur towards gay people. Finally, a third page that doesn't show a date has a timeline for this attack. However, it wasn't followed exactly. Today, Crowder told me he believes releasing these documents could help prevent another school shooting.
Conspiracies when our national intelligence agencies, when the FBI, the DOJ, and local police department, not to mention all of media and big tech, decide that this will no longer be covered, when the issue at hand, as far as covering it now, is knowledge can be gleaned that can actually help people moving forward, avoid shootings like this, potentially avoid our missteps. Hey, this is the byproduct of the kind of ideology in which all of our children in public schools are being steeped.
Now, we did ask Metro Police if these pictures were in fact taken by a detective. They told us they didn't know, but said they were not crime scene photos.
Yeah, this is
white, Christian, generally more affluent. Welcome back, everyone. Wanted to do a quick video addressing something that I posted this morning, and many of you have probably seen as well. News broke today from the folks over at Mug Club, which, as you guys know, I am a content creator on. And the folks at Mug Club Undercover, many of whom I know personally, did great investigative journalism and got out a news story with 3 pages of the Nashville Christian school shooters manifesto. So 3 pages. From what I understand, there is more that will be coming. We'll address something that might be coming here in just a second. But I wanted to do a video on it because I posted the documents earlier this morning across my social media. And if you guys aren't following me on social media, I definitely recommend you do, because that's where most of the news that we post goes, rather than full-length videos like this one. So hopefully this video won't be that long. But I wanted to do a video just discussing a few points that are important on this story, just for us to understand culturally, and then a little bit based on tactics as well. I made some notes here to kind of stay on message. First off is going to be that most other recent school mass shootings, etc., we have known either the manifesto, if there was one, or the social media history of whoever did it. Like, for example, as of when I'm filming this, the most recent one that is being treated like a mass shooting, even though there's mass shootings all the time in Chicago and Philadelphia and elsewhere that don't get covered. But the one that's being covered recently is in Maine, and within, I don't know, probably 12 hours, his entire social media feed was published on multiple websites. His history in terms of employment with the government, his racial status, his sexual status, orientation, all of that was posted publicly online. And that is the norm when the person fits the narrative that the media wants you to see. Now, in this particular case, the person didn't fit the narrative they want you to see, nor did their manifesto contain items that fit the narrative. So basically, they did everything they could to hide it. And from what I understand, it was folks at the Department of Justice that were pressuring the Nashville Police Department to not release the data that was in the manifesto. And the folks over at Mug Club Undercover were able to work with an informant within the department, or who had access to the department, who was able to get these pages as of right now out, and I suspect more will be coming. And again, I know the people over there at Mug Club Undercover personally, so I trust that what they're putting out is verified. They're the kind of people that would do that, in my opinion, based on everything I know. So there is that. Next point I wanted to get into is what right in a free society, which we purport to be here in America, does the government have to hide a document like this from the public? None. And in many cases, these types of documents are released to the public because it shows a potential threat to members of certain groups. And it serves as a way to notify them that there are crazy people who are trying to harm them and that they should plan accordingly. In this case, the people that were targeted were white, Christian, generally more affluent than average. And so if there's a document that's showing that those types of people are being targeted, then maybe that's something that should be released to the public for their own safety, so that way they can take the appropriate steps to protect themselves and their family. In this case, they tried to prevent that, once again, simply because it didn't fit the narrative. So I would say that the government has zero right to do that. They have no authority to do that. It's simply not the case. If there was an ongoing investigation, like i.e. the killer was on the loose or something like that, I could see why you would want to withhold some things. But in this case, this killer was shot dead in the school by local police who were doing a good job, doing their jobs properly. So there was no reason to withhold this. Now, I will roll in the images that were leaked. For those of you guys that didn't see it, you can pause the video. I'm not going to read the images for several reasons. Number one, most of you guys have probably seen them on social media already. And additionally, it contains language I just don't use here on the channel, because I know a lot of people watch this channel with their kids in the room. And so we try to keep it like PG-13, if you will, at best. But if you guys want to pause it and read it, you're certainly free to do so. But just some points that I...
So, kill those kids, those crackers, going to private fancy schools with those fancy khakis and sports backpacks with their daddy's Mustangs and convertibles. Fuck you, little shits. I wish to shoot you, crack ass dicks with your mop yellow hair. Want to kill all you little crackers. Bunch of little faggots with your white privilege. Fuck you, faggots. Wow.
Such poetry.
Yeah, bring it back to life, or we can charge you with a hate crime.
Yeah, that's definitely hate, man. There's a lot of hate, right? That sounds like a rap, yo. That literally sounds like every fucking top 40 rap song on every rap song on the top 40 right now.
Sounds like slam
Like,
poetry.
literally.
Hey, wasn't it that little white girl?
Yeah,
That was her manifesto.
that was part of it.
This was the second page though. The first page was her schedule and shit.
Salute to Mike DC 100 $5 challenge. Salute to Deluxe 247, aka Cal Wilkin, aka the real MVP. Salute to Steve K coming through once again, Off Nation Hall of Famer.
I took out from what this woman who was apparently a woman transitioning to a man, transgender, wrote is that, again, she was very anti-white. She used anti-white slurs multiple times. She was anti-wealth, anti-success, talking about certain items that these kids might own, that poor people wouldn't have. So just standardized, brainwashed, communist, to hate the rich, oppose the rich, attack.
Yeah, here's her schedule. She had her schedule 10:20, gear up and set up guns in trunk. Symbol plus get out vest. 11:20, final videotape. Also, she made a videotape. So they also have a videotape that they haven't released.
Yeah, we ain't got that yet.
11:30, 5 a.m. leave for Covenant School. 12, arrive at Covenant School. Check parking lot for security. 12:05, arrive in designated parking space. 12:05 to 12:10, prepare for attack. 12 something, lock and load all weapons. 12.
White people be planning that shit out.
Yeah, they different.
Damn.
That's why I say that's what I said on Monster. Like it's a different mind, man. You can't take the glider out of it, just like you can't take the sun out of different scenarios.
Yeah, sun's just go and do it.
Glider's gonna glide, sun's gonna sun, Patel's gonna Patel, on burrito's gonna on burrito.
Yeah.
Attack the rich in this case, and was also anti-Christian, made several references to it. Ironically, though, also made references to God. May God guide her in certain ways and overcome certain things, which is very odd for someone targeting a Christian school. But she may have felt that her God is not a Christian God and doesn't.
Miss S66 says she had daddy issues. I'm sure she did. She says, today is the day. The day has finally come. I can't believe it's here. Don't know how I was able to get this far, but here I am. I'm a little nervous, but excited too. Been excited for the past 2 weeks. There were several times I could have been caught, especially because the summer of 2021. None of that matters now. I'm almost an hour and 7 minutes away. Can't believe I'm doing this, but I'm ready. I hope my victims aren't. My only fear is if anything goes wrong. I'll do my best to prevent any of that sort. God, let my wrath take over my anxiety. It might be 10 minutes tops. It might be 3 to 7. It's going to go quick. I hope I have a high death count. And I can't read the bottom right there. Hold on.
Our brother wanted her to attack Christian children. I don't know. I think more is going to come out.
Ready to die. Nana, whatever her name is. She's ready to die. Wow. Woo! That's scary, man.
I think it's ready to die. Ha ha. Aiden.
My little girl ain't shit.
She called herself Aiden. Sorry.
Yeah. Salute to Glider Supreme. Glider stay winning. $5 challenge accepted. Challenge dominated. Salute to Gladys Supreme, man. Tonic T says, Loot Ock Nation. Go ahead, man. All right.
Because from what I have heard, there is a lot more to this document than these 3 pages, but that is absolutely what we know. And then a few questions based off what I read in the documents. Number one, she said that she's surprised she wasn't stopped, especially in 2021. What happened in 2021? Is that why the Department of Justice was trying to censor this document? Because they knew something happened and something could have been done to prevent this in 2021 that wasn't, and maybe made them look bad. I don't know. Just hypothesis on my part, but it seems very odd that there was a specific date put in there and that she wasn't stopped at that time, and she was surprised by that. So there's that. Additionally, she made a timeline in terms of what she was going to do on the day of the killings.
Yeah. So anyway, man, wow. That's terrifying, man. The level of planning, man, that you Gladys put into these things is terrifying. Now I see why they scared of y'all, man. They treat y'all different, man, because y'all playing. Like, it's one thing to go to a party and somebody step on your shoe and you just shoot into a crowd and shoot a bunch of people that you didn't even fucking have intend on shooting. It's another thing to do this shit.
Yeah, I'm glad she died.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. A piece of shit, man.
For real, bro. Like that shit pisses me off. Like I'm not like you're a piece of shit for that, for real.
Yeah, man. It's really nothing more you can say about it. I mean, she's a bad seed, man.
All because like people had like better stuff than she did.
Nah. She grew up like. No, she grew up like them.
Yeah, it's because white people. She does. Yeah, that's indoctrination. She doesn't. White hate is taught in these schools, man, and it's not called white hate, but it's white hate.
Yeah, it's called CRT or DEI or equity, whatever.
Yeah,
that shit crazy, bro.
She went to that school.
Wow.
Yeah, she went to that school.
And I mean, there's a whole lot of writers that are like this now that are completely unhinged and just waiting to snap.
The black girl that she texted in the parking lot, that's where she met her at. They played on the girls basketball team together there, and the black girl called the police, but it was too late, you know.
Wow.
Because she was in the parking lot.
I remember that.
Yeah.
Wow.
You can find the text online.
Yeah, but the black girl was like, we were close in elementary, but like I haven't talked to her as in years, you know?
Yeah, she was a weirdo then.
Yeah, I mean, weirdo is. I mean, when you're trans, like it's like literally like being trans is literally being a weirdo.
Yeah, she probably had no productive relationship with her parents at all.
Yeah, they say she comes from like a really, really good family, you know, so they paid for a fucking like art degree from like this expensive ass private college, so they had to have cared a little bit.
Well, I mean, they might do that, but in terms of like building a relationship and all that type of stuff, she was probably considered herself, I don't know, a loner and neglected. And then if she has nobody sort of building her reality, like based in actual reality, and all she's getting is fed these woke talking points, that's how she developed her persona.
Carmel, Indiana, an affluent, majority white suburb just north of Indianapolis. It's known for its idyllic neighborhoods, low crime rates, and some of the country's best public schools.
We already know the demographics there.
But recently, there's been tension in the air.
Comment suspended at today's Carmel Clay School Board meeting.
The superintendent made that decision after several contentious meetings over the past few months involving debates over diversity and inclusion.
In early 2021, Carmel Clay Schools brought in diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives, known simply.
Why? You're a safe town with great schools. Why? You don't have any fucking sun where Carmel, Indiana. What's the demographics? Somebody
super glider. I will tell you that.
Somebody post the demographics for Carmel, Indiana, man. I mean, come on, man. Why? Why did you open this? I blame gliders for opening this can of worms. You had a great little town. Everything was going smooth.
Carmel, Indiana, an affluent, majority white suburb just north of Indianapolis. It's known for its idyllic neighborhoods, low crime rates, and some of the country's best public schools. But recently, there's been tension in the air.
Comment suspended at today's Carmel Clay School Board meeting.
The superintendent made that decision after several contentious meetings over the past few months involving debates over diversity and inclusion.
In early 2021, Carmel Clay Schools brought in diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives, known simply as DEI, a program that seeks to combat structural racism. Since then, a battle has erupted between those that welcome the changes and others who see it as leftist indoctrination of their children.
You have lost sight of your responsibilities to educate our children. Parents are learning, watching, and taking action.
I think what's most troublesome was the harassment teachers and specific board members were getting at their homes.
It's a conflict that has spread from local school board meetings to a culture war dividing parents across the country.
They don't care what we think, they don't care what we say, they don't care how we feel.
These are government schools to indoctrinate children against their parents.
Who are white.
In the quiet enclaves of Carmel, one man is leading the fight against these progressive changes. Alvin Louis came to Indiana to escape the leftist indoctrination he claims was taking over his home in California. He leads Unify Carmel, an organization working with local parents to fight against DEI, something that he believes might sound neutral, but is in fact associated with critical race theory, a concept that sees racism as an indelible part of American society and law.
And when you have these activist teachers that bring this stuff in, you're literally taking hostage, a captive audience of children.
Hi, I'm Amdalat.
I'm out.
Yeah, and that's the thing that, look at this. What is this whore doing in fucking Carmel, Indiana?
See, the Tigers know it's bullshit. The Tigers know that the outcome, just like the gliders that are pissed about this, know the outcomes are bad.
Yeah, exactly. They have a shrewdness to them that gliders don't have. There's a single-mindedness and a straight to the pointness that tigers have. That gliders are more open-minded. That's why they're innovators, though. You guys wouldn't be innovative. You guys wouldn't have made planes and trains and car combustible engines and fucking penicillin and all this shit if you weren't open-minded. But that does become as a hindrance to you when you deal with people that are more shrewd than you, like black people. Black people are much more shrewd.
Hi, I'm Amdalat.
I'm Alvin Louis. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Come on in.
All right, thank you. What evidence do you have that children are being indoctrinated in the schools now?
Well, a couple of reasons. Number one is the way they have the materials that the teachers read. They have them read books that are very critical race theory author.
Yo, what the fuck is this chicken doing, man? Listen, man, you should have had the fucking. This is what the KKK was for, though. I'm not even gonna lie, man. I'm not even trying to be funny. Like, they would just ride near white and just leave. They wouldn't do anything to this woman. They would just come ride out and she would leave. You know what I'm saying? You wouldn't have to lynch her. They would just come, well, in their horses with their white robes on, and she'd get them. She'd go, oh, I'm out of here.
Yeah, this will be an interesting
There's a
exchange
ton-
because like her whole point of being here is going to be and try and frame this guy and anybody that opposes the DEI stuff as morally reprehensible. Like this is a communist struggle session, right? To try and get these people to cave to the social Marxist dogma. But being that this is a tiger, this will be very interesting how this plays out.
Yeah, well, he's not going to back down from her because, you know, I mean, he just got his mind works different.
Yeah, he already knows.
Theory authors.
Yeah.
There's a ton of LGBT gender indoctrination. What they're doing is that they're changing the culture of the schools and changing the way children think about race, themselves, America, the values.
So you sent me this image. So we have Karl Marx, we have Tupac, we have a meme.
Yeah.
What's indoctrinating about this in a classroom?
Well, it's the idea that teachers, activist teachers, are taking upon themselves to put up things like glorifying Marxism. Critical race theory is a Marxist ideology.
Is that not just history, though? Because he is a famous figure in history.
Ironically, they don't put pictures of anybody else that is pro-America. They're changing the values and the morals of children to hate the country. That's the problem. That's not education.
Do you know that they're doing that, though?
Yes, 100%.
How?
Because we have whistleblowers, teachers, and
right here, a white guy would have bent over and let him fuck her in the ass with a 12-inch dildo.
And
well, she would have gone a lot harder. This whole thing would be, see how she's framing it right now? She's trying to play neutral. From the very beginning, she would have said, you're a white supremacist. The language would have been totally different.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
Showing us that when they teach, they only teach one direction. Instead of telling them to love the country you live in.
Do you think teaching kids to love the country that they live in is another form of indoctrination, though?
Why would you not want your citizens to love the place you live in? That's like saying, I hate my house. Why would I not want to love the house I live in?
Alvin sees these changes as fundamentally anti-American, a tool to make children overly aware of their racial identities and critical of their country. But some of the evidence he cites, highlighted sections from textbooks, were actually teaching students about injustices in America's history, like the Chinese Exclusion Act and Jim Crow laws. The Carmel Clay School administration has a very different viewpoint. Though they weren't willing to give us specifics, they told us that they've retrained teachers to be more sensitive to the backgrounds of students and have prepared children to be a part of the global community. But they claim they haven't changed the academic syllabus itself. They've also brought in social-emotional learning, role-playing lessons which help children understand and regulate emotions, set positive goals, and feel and show empathy for others. Jennifer McWilliams, a local teacher and parent, posted an article highlighting her opposition to this and was subsequently fired from her school. What did the role-playing look like? What did it consist of? What were the topics?
So we would give children a scenario, and it would a lot of them were not scenarios that were real serious, but it was to influence these children to how to make decisions going forward in all situations. It may be something like if it was a birthday and everybody got a cookie in the classroom, but there wasn't enough for 2 people, right? Is it okay? What would you do? As we were influencing these children, I began to see this culture shift within the school. The ideology behind that is that it's because they believe that the country is systemically racist or oppressive. And so they believe that everyone is in some way traumatized. It's about ideology and what ideology they want to push.
Jennifer's example didn't strike me as pushing an ideology, but rather a way to teach students to be kind to each other. But for both Alvin and Elizabeth, teaching anything outside of traditional...
Would this woman go to Chicago or DC or Baltimore and be able to fucking talk to those people like this? Those people it would be a non-starter.
No, well, she thinks that all those people are victims.
Yeah, but she would be faced with, like, literally, like, yo, get the fuck out of here. You know what I'm saying? Like it wouldn't be as welcoming. These gliders are very welcoming and very nice. You know what I mean? They're nice.
Well, I mean, the way it would be taught in those schools though would be completely different. It would the faculty, the people in those schools would want that stuff because their student populations were mostly sons, and they loved this type of stuff because it's a way for them to dunk on gliders. Like the whole vibe when she walked through the door would be a positive experience.
No, I'm saying if she came with like the reverse of that, like if she came to sons with, you need to think about white people differently. They're not all racist. There are great white people. White people are good. Yeah, look at this thing, nice thing.
Oh yeah, they'd throw it back in her face.
Yeah, they wouldn't have this shit. She'd be chased out of there.
And what ideology they want to push.
Jennifer's example didn't strike me as pushing an ideology, but rather a way to teach students to be kind to each other. But for both Alvin and Elizabeth, teaching anything outside of traditional academia crosses a line. They don't believe that institutional problems, particularly structural racism, are prevalent here, so they don't see a need for institutional change in schools. But I wanted to understand what schooling was like for a student who'd actually been through the system. Hallie Watson graduated from Carmel High School in 2016 and was one of an estimated 60 Black students at a school of over 1,000.
Carmel's in huge denial that racism is even a thing here.
2 chicks with fake hair on their head. No surprise.
Yeah, I mean, notice how so much of this, no matter where you go, is women.
Mm-hmm.
All this woke stuff, it's overwhelmingly majority women. And this is the type of stuff women gravitate towards. Like these emotional appeals, these illogical conclusions.
It's just like what pisses me off is you won't be missed if you wasn't here. You get what I'm saying? Like, you're not bringing much to the fucking table. We were just fine without you. And now you're here and life is great, but you find something to complain about. But if you go to the school where everybody look like you, it'll be a different story. You get what I'm saying? Like, you'll be worried about getting fucking jumped and all type of shit. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to worry about none of that aggressive violence or nothing like that. But it's so good that you're complaining about passive aggressive fucking racism.
Yeah, microaggressions and shit.
Microaggressive.
Yeah, these and this girl right here, I'm eager to see what she calls racism.
They're just like, no, that doesn't happen here. It happens in the world, but not in Carmel. No. And especially not in our schools. No.
Could you talk about some of the instances of your Blackness being pointed out by teachers and students?
I was in history class, and this was my
Blackness
junior year, and I don't know how we got on the topic, but somehow we did, of talking about welfare. And a kid asked, like, what exactly is that? Asked the teacher, what is welfare? I've heard of it, but I don't know what that is. And the teacher's like, well, it's kind of hard to explain. She turned to me. She goes, Hallie, you can explain that, right? Can you explain what welfare is? I'm really Black.
I call bullshit.
I think she brought it up.
Yeah, white people know better than do shit like that, man.
I think it's either bullshit or she spoke about welfare before.
Yeah.
And it's just like, you have experience speaking about welfare, so give us.
Yeah, she's been in there for months being like, you think I'm a motherfucking welfare queen? Throwing shit at people, slapping people.
She skipped all the way to junior year. So 24 months have been gone by and there has been no fucking passive, no microaggressions. And then junior year, finally, you've been in there 2 fucking years, and now here it goes in history class.
And this is racism. This isn't like annoyance. This is racism.
Yeah, this is her fearing for her life. Like, she walks in that school and she thinks she could die.
White people are so nice, man. Like, yo, she would have huge problems. Yo, her problems at a black school would be so real, yo. Yo, she would have fucking problems, man.
Man, you don't
Yeah.
I
understand.
was
You
in
don't
history.
understand how like nice Carmel, Indiana is, man. This is like this is super glider, super fucking like, you know what I'm saying, a hard working class of gliders that have made like themselves wealthy type shit. This ain't like it's not it's like it's old money there, but it's like the old money is not no fucking you got it from like, you know, fucking privilege type shit. This is like Indiana hard working class. We built farms and now we're wealthy. We built trucking companies and now we're wealthy. You know what I'm saying? Like type of shit. That's what Carmel, Indiana is.
And she's here basically saying all of y'all. She doesn't realize either. Too, I'll give her that. That yo, this is you're basically besmirching and smearing these people. What you're doing is you're being a shitty person. This is shitty what you're doing, sister. Like you're telling everybody. It's like, okay, so tell us about the people in this town. Oh man, let me tell you, she like Miss Benita. Remember that living color thing where the woman was in the window? And she would talk about the people behind their back.
I ain't the one to gossip, but
Yeah, you ain't heard it from me, but yeah, let's like, it's like, yo, why are you doing this to these people, man? Like, why you not saying nothing nice about these people? These people have preserved you. You don't have a
hey,
scratch on you.
she Colin Kaepernick to his fucking adopted family and shit.
Yeah.
Students.
I was in history class, and this was my junior year, and I don't know how we got on the topic, but somehow we did, of talking about welfare. And a kid asked, like, what exactly is that? Asked the teacher, what is welfare? I've heard of it, but I don't know what that is. And the teacher's like, well, it's kind of hard to explain. She turned to me. She goes, Hallie, you can explain that, right? Can you explain what welfare is? I'm the only black kid in the class, and I was like, I was so caught off guard and shocked that she just so casually expected me to explain it.
Was hearing racial slurs something that was normal at the high school?
Yes, it was. It became, I realized it was going to be a norm very quickly, and people would say that all the time here. That's another thing that I'm the one being sensitive. If I'm like, hey, don't call me that, don't say that. Like, I don't see.
Don't call you that. So they were calling you the Sun word.
She didn't say what they called her. You know, she's
I have a hard time believing that.
She's lying. She's liar.
Bullshitting, dog.
I have a hard time believing that for real.
I ain't gonna lie, like, so Carmel, they consider that like the region, so they kind of like feel like they're a suburb of Chicago. So you probably do got some fucking gliders that, you know what I'm saying, think they, you know what I'm saying, cool enough to fucking say it type shit. But like, she
But
ain't
that's a term
like,
of endearment. She's talking about like
yeah,
nigger.
nah.
Like,
Yeah, it won't be like that. It'll be like the endearment type shit. You know what I'm saying? It'll
it'll
be
be
some
like I'm cool enough to say it, or like
right.
And like every top 40 song has some fucking
Right,
degenerate
and she'll
son
hear
word
it. She'll hear them
using
rapping
that
it
word
type shit.
in the song.
Right.
Like,
So it's not
I
to
took
the
on the
extreme. It's not to the extreme of the DMV type of shit. You know how people say DMV, the area type of stuff. But like people from Northwest Indiana, they call it the region. So Carmel's in that, Hammond, South Bend type shit. Fucking it's like the region. And they
No, I
call
know
it
what
like
you're saying.
Gary, Indiana, Whiting, Hammond. And yeah, it's like we're all one. They feel like they're a suburb of Chicago type shit, you know?
Yeah,
But
these people right here, she's in a place where they probably, you know how they say 80% of hip hop is bought by suburban whites, purchased. 80% of hip hop records are purchased by suburban whites. And when you go to a hip hop concert, it's all white kids. This is she's around people that probably listen to hip hop music like a lot. Like these kids probably at Carmel, they probably listen to Little Baby and Dirk.
I
And I'm
can I
like,
can vouch. They do. That's the type of
yeah,
area it is, you know. Like a lot of them come from like decent homes and everything like that, but it's a
but they
it's
love
a
hip
side of
hop.
it's a side of Carmel that is, you know what I'm saying, not very wealthy at all, you know. They got their hick ass side too. But the high school is fucking just beautiful, you know? Like the high school got crazy nice facilities, gym, pools, everything. It's super nice, you know. But yeah, everybody not rich because they fucking gliders over there. They got some fucking
But
some Gary, Indiana looking type motherfuckers over there.
the Hicks are gonna listen to country music. Like what I've seen is that the wealthy white kids listen to hip hop and the working class white kids listen to country.
The Midwest is a tad bit different when it comes to that.
Okay.
Yeah, the tad bit different. The hick
Like,
white dudes are like ghetto.
Okay.
I realized it was going to be a norm very quickly, and people would say that all the time here. That's another thing that I'm the one being sensitive. If I'm like, hey, don't call me that, don't say that. Like, I don't see like why that should be a normal thing for a kid to be like, I hate myself because of my skin color. But yeah, it took a lot. Like, I had to build myself up. No one else was going to do it for me.
Hallie's experiences are far from rare here. A local organization, Communities Allied for Racial Justice, collected stories from local students and parents of color that reflect a systemic failure to combat racism.
I remember seeing these two white kids in blackface, and it was just black paint that was just on their face. They were dressed up as if they were in North Central gear.
Ashton Spiker co-founded the organization and was instrumental in pushing for progressive change in Carmel.
What is your reaction to the parents that didn't really know that this was an issue and kind of feel shocked that this is being pushed in the schools?
Yeah, so when we started this work in Carmel last June, we realized that Carmel was not at the point that people around us are in understanding that racism even exists. When you have a student that's experiencing racism from their peers or from their teachers, they are struggling to focus. They're struggling to do their work. DEI and SEL and all of that, it's not some boogeyman. It's just genuinely caring about students and wanting them to succeed no matter their background.
What would you say to people from Unified Carmel that call these DEI efforts anti-American?
Yeah, so that's something that we've heard, and that's something I don't understand. So something that we look at other countries and we talk about and we look down upon are when leaders ask people to follow them blindly. And that's not what we should be doing here in America. I love America, but to love something, to truly love it, is to want it to succeed and to want it to be better. And it's not teaching kids to hate America. It's teaching them the truth about what history actually looks like.
While the dividing line between those for and against these changes are clear, there is also a large group here that define themselves as somewhere in the middle, uncomfortable with the tactics of Unified Carmel, but unsure of how DEI may be affecting their children. These local parents are concerned about the politicization of schools and a lack of transparency from administrators.
I recognize we need to deal with racism, bias, and sometimes just ignorance, but we need to make sure it's a constructive approach and not a destructive approach. I see lots of cultural generalizations that just aren't necessarily true.
She like, yo, I found this nice little enclave to get away from sun words, and I want to keep it like that.
Yeah, she's like, you need to be real careful, bitch. how you come up in my spot and start fucking this shit up. You little braided headed hoe.
Cause like, yo, this is actually a great place to live, man. And when they bring this DEI, that's the first step. Next thing they're gonna bring in is affordable housing. I'm telling you, after DEI becomes affordable housing.
And then these kids grow up and they start voting different, and it all goes to shit.
Yeah, affordable housing it ruins it. It won't even they won't even have to vote. Once you bring affordable housing, your city's ruined.
They're so good at the language, though, like the way the people that made this frame this and the words they use.
Yeah,
like witchcraft.
It's all, yeah, it really is. It is wizardry in a sense.
It's bitchcraft.
Salute to Savage, man. Self-guilty white. Ock Nation Hall of Fame.
When you hear so like this, we're watching this, right? And so, you know, when they put things out on TV, right, they use the word broadcast, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you break down the word broadcast, what you're actually saying is what do you cast?
A spell.
A spell. You're broadly casting a spell on people's consciousness.
Yeah, I mean, listen, man. That's beyond, like, I mean, what they're doing, because even in those days when they was talking about spells and everything, that shit was bullshit. That was just like some person. This shit right here, what we have in the modern age, man. I mean, we jumped the shark on that. You can't even fathom how fucking Twitter, your phone, like all that shit. We're so far past like casting spells. We're into programming now.
Well, I mean, that's what I'm saying, though. It's not mystical or magical. There's no like, you know, like we're throwing like a bat wing in a pot of boiling bullshit or whatever. Like, it's not that. But these people are destroying the consciousness and rewiring it in a way that it doesn't align with reality or end up in any sort of positive outcome that benefits humanity.
It wouldn't be, but it still wouldn't be a stretch to say that there isn't an evilness to this. There isn't an evil spirit behind all this.
Without a doubt, these people are they want to destroy things. Like this town right here, this white town, they see it as flawed. They see it as there's something wrong with this town because it's only white people and they're rich or they're upper middle class or they're affluent or whatever you want to call, and there's no crime, there's nothing, you know, and they're just sitting out there living their lives. They find flaw in that. And they want to change that. They want to alter these people's reality. And what they're going to do is they're going to bring crime. And I'm sure these people got drugs. I'm sure they got opioids and fentanyl out here. And kids are fucking drinking and shit and getting in accidents and stuff like that. I'm sure it's not perfect, but there's no carjackings. There's no like home invasions. There's not a corner where it's fucking 20 sunwords hanging out every fucking day. There's not like teens riding around hunting. They don't have that shit. And I'm telling you, this right here sets the fucking stage for all of that shit.
I recognize we need to deal with racism, bias, and sometimes just ignorance, but we need to make sure it's a constructive approach and not a destructive approach. I see lots of cultural generalizations that just aren't necessarily true. And the way to know my children, what they need, is by getting to know them and talking to me as their mother.
I don't think we have systemic racism. I think we have racist people. And I think people aren't helping to enforce the systems that we do have.
I don't want to challenge you, but I would just say I talked to a student today who said it was normal for her to hear slurs in her classrooms and for teachers not to say anything. And that's why in her mind, it was systemic, because that was like almost the culture.
I'm not doubting her experience whatsoever, but my point would be, where's the accountability? The system doesn't allow the school teacher to be that way. They don't know what's going on in their own hallways, and they're spending money on all the wrong things.
I'm here for my kids to get an education. I don't need my kids taught how to rally, how to protest, how to march. Not my kids from their upper middle class home in their idyllic suburb.
Word carries quickly in Carmel. And before I left, a local organization sent me an email containing screenshots and videos collected by local students from social media. It was difficult to ascertain the identity of those that posted these clips, but it was clear that they were of high school age and from this area in Indiana.
I'm really nervous. I don't know why. Okay, I'm gonna look at the first thing.
Wow, there's only two. Oh, they're really Stop filming me, you nigger. What are you gonna do about it? Nigger.
So what?
We don't even know what the fuck that's from.
Right. And who gives a shit? Like, even if they did, let's just say that some fucking high school kid said that. You come from a place where a high school kid will fucking put a gun in your face and snatch you out your car and drive off laughing. Well, high school kid that same age will shoot into a crowd and get away with it, and nobody will fucking tell on them. It'll be 100 people there, and nobody will tell on them. The kid will be back in school the next week, making a rap song about the fucking incident.
And if she took that serious, if she took what you just said serious, then like these glider teens would actually respect her. And they wouldn't like troll and make fun of this girl behind her back. But because she's so dumb and she can't ascertain that that is the issue she should focus her efforts on, then they go home and sit in their basement and play Call of Duty and call her the hard R.
This is my thing, though. Here's when you're like this, right, and you're so touched, like she looks like she's about to cry, right? She looks like she's literally about to tear up. She's that like hurt her heart. You can see it hit her soul. She expects so much more out of these glider teens. She holds them to a higher standard in her own mind. In her mind, they're supposed to, even though they're teens, even though the person who did this may be 16 years old, she's like, yo, you're better than that. You're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to be more reasoned and rational and mature. That's the thing. That's the problem.
I think it's more like how dare you say that about people who look like me. I don't think she really holds them in, I don't think really think she holds them to high standards. She just has contempt for them.
Yeah, I think
she needs a good enough excuse to exact her hate and resentment towards
her.
Yeah,
I think that's more what it is. That this whole like you got to be perfect if you're a glider is an unattainable standard, and it is unattainable because they don't want us to meet the standard because they want to have a reason to hate us. Like to make us into this perfect thing is a way of dehumanizing us. Because nobody's perfect. But if I tell you have to be perfect, I know you're never going to meet that standard. So I'll always have a reason to hate you.
And remember, these people they're always destructive. They never create anything. All they do is take something that's good and just shit on it, and they want to say they made it better. They never construct anything that's actually good. Everything just needs to be destroyed in their mind.
Salute to Savrix coming through once again. He says, imagine rendering population groups to be squishy as fuck to allow this shit to happen. Yeah, I mean, I still think that there's an element in some people where they feel like gliders are more of what every good trait. So if there's a good trait, we pick one. That gliders are more of that. And any bad trait, that gliders are less of that. I really believe that some people think that. And I believe if this girl went to a black school and was doing a piece at some black school, and kids were like jumping on chairs, and some kid like beat the shit out of a teacher, or she walked in the hallway and a bunch of Sun Queens was out there ripping each other's tracks out of their heads, and there was a shooting, and the next kid,
she'd feel at home. She would feel at home.
No, but
she would
blink an eye, she'd be perfectly fine.
There wouldn't be contempt for that behavior. There would be, this is happening because white people haven't given them more free stuff.
Or that they're just having fun.
Yeah, exactly. That white kid who's saying the N-word, he knows better. And that's her problem. He knows better.
I hate niggers. But I just wanted to say, Black lives don't matter.
These are like white students who are just even watching this and not going to the school, I'm like disgusted. I wish slavery.
They're changing the values and the moral.
Niggers.
What the F are you trying to change? Black peoples deserve to be called a nigger. I wish slavery never ended so that you pieces of shit will realize that shit will never change. And same goes for the LGBTQ. They need to ask well, white people are superior human race. You guys should be grateful that you are going to a school like Carmel. Stop complaining. Nobody wants to fucking listen. Hey, listen, here's the thing. Yes, okay, this could be wrong, but what I'm saying is that, like we were talking about earlier, like, nobody's dying. There's no litter on the ground. Nobody's gonna lay a finger on you.
That's what they want. I think they want.
I wish slavery never.
Yeah.
Ended.
Can I make some points about this? So, like, one, she's saying this is systemic. This is not anything having to do with the school system. These are random teens. If this is even real or from students from the school, these are just random teens anonymously talking to their phones.
Yep.
That's a big leap from claiming the whole school system in America is systemically racist.
Exactly.
But they weakly try to associate the two.
This is like you're playing Fortnite with somebody on remotely with somebody in another town, and they're like calling you the N-word while you're playing Fortnite.
Yeah, the hard R, fag, like, I mean, that's every third word on there.
To be honest, that happened to me. The little kid was calling me a nigger. And he was like 3 years old. I'm like, little kid, what you doing?
Yeah, and yes, I can. That is offensive and that's wrong. But black people will fucking kill you.
Yeah, some people are hypocrites. It could
If
be
you
one
go out-
glider saying something about black people. All gliders say it, but when some person commits a crime, oh, it was just him. You know?
Exactly.
It was
That
just
12-year-old. I would rather be around these fucking kids because I know they wouldn't say it to my face, and they only say it online. Or that fucking 12-year-old, those 12 and 13-year-olds that'll fucking stick a gun in your face and shit. Listen, man, don't get me wrong. I wouldn't want this. I wouldn't want nobody to be talking to me like this. I wouldn't want nobody. I wouldn't want to even know that like people I was friends with were doing this behind my back. I get it. It's fucked up. But this is, the community that this woman comes from is so morbidly like dysfunctional and violent. And
I was gonna say violent.
It just
out of control.
Like we're gonna do let's do one city. Just see what you know what? Let's do Indiana City. We're gonna do Indiana City since this is Carmel, Indiana.
Gary.
Indiana City. No. Gary's too easy. Let's do Gary is like
the trenches, not far away.
Let's do South Bend. Okay, let's do South Bend. We'll do South Bend. and we'll just see the stories from South Bend, which is not far from Carmel, right? Let's just see what's going on there, where they have a larger
A
black
Fox
population.
59 crime tracker alert tonight. A terrifying situation for a family out in South Bend. 4 young men forced themselves into a home with a family inside, including 2 young children. Police say they knocked on the door of a home on South Grant Street.
I mean, think about it. This is the town, the neighboring town that has the larger black population. So Carmel's a town that has not many blacks. This town is nearby and has a lot of blacks. And they probably play these schools here in basketball and football. But other than that, they don't associate with these people.
A Fox 59 crime tracker alert tonight. A terrifying situation for a family out in South Bend. 4 young men forced themselves into a home with a family inside, including 2 young children. Police say they knocked on the door of a home on South Grant Street at about 10:30 on the morning. This was September 30th.
Oh, it's not the little kid fighting.
And the group forced themselves.
Who opened the door for this gang of
At least 3 of
individuals?
them pointed guns at the people inside. That's what we're learning from authorities. A little boy in that home hit one of the intruders. And the group ran away.
Somebody get that boy at 22.
He came out swinging.
Inside. That's what we're learning
Look
from
at him.
authorities. A little boy in that home hit one of the intruders, and the group ran away. Police say shots were fired, but no one was hurt, and they are still searching for the people involved. Of course, if you recognize anyone in this video, contact us.
Who thinks this is going on in Carmel? Who thinks stuff like that goes on in Carmel?
If it does, it's from Sons. It's not from the gliders out there.
Look at this.
A youth basketball team is banned from the Pacers Athletic Center after a shooting in the parking lot there on Sunday night. Well, thankfully, Westfield.
What kind of youth basketball team you think this is? A youth basketball team is. I'll let them say it. This is today.
A youth
They're probably
basketball
like the best
team is
team in the
banned
league,
from
too.
the Pacers Athletic Center after a shooting in the parking lot there on Sunday night. Well, thankfully, Westfield police say no one was injured, but several cars were damaged.
Fox 59's Max Lewis has some new information about what led up to this violence.
Everything is seemingly back to normal here at the Pacers Athletic Center after that shooting last night. Parents here tell us it was a fight during a game that spilled into the parking lot where those shots were fired, and officials say the team involved has been permanently banned. Westfield police were first called to the athletic facility at Grand Park around 6:30 Sunday night on reports of shots fired in the parking lot. Detectives have released almost no details about what happened, but several cars were hit by bullets, shattering windows. Crime scene investigators focused heavily on this sedan, but again, police haven't said why. Just what's your reaction to that happening?
That's wild. I've never seen anything like that here in the time we've came.
Man, hold it down for me for a second. I gotta get my some water, man. Hold on.
You guys think the Sun sisters are jealous of gliders? That's why they go so hard at them?
Hell yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. For sure. Yeah, sisters can't stand glider women.
Nah, yeah, I know that. I meant just gliders in general. You think they wish their society was like that? So
Yeah. I think there is a certain element. I think there's a certain element within the Sun community that feels like they have to kind of maintain this power trip guilt dynamic in order to get gliders to allow them to occupy glider like first world standards of living. If that makes sense. It's like if gliders see the degeneracy within the Sun community for what it is, they wouldn't be so welcoming to let that occupy their neighborhoods and what have you. So they have to kind of have this power dynamic where it's like, oh, you owe us something. Give us, where we want our Dodge Charger, we want our, like townhouse, we want access to the stuff that we can't produce, but we see as a better way of living.
I kind of disagree. They don't want the same thing, because if they did, they would actually be able to maintain what's given to them and actually make it better. A lot of the Sun conduct is destructive.
Well, I don't think they know how to maintain it. They want it, but they don't know what to do with it when they've got it.
No, I'm not saying it's not just they don't. It's not wanting. It's not knowing how to maintain. It's not maintaining it. It's willing to actually take the time to learn how to maintain it. A lot of because that's why so much stuff goes in disrepair because they don't actually take the time to learn how to maintain these various systems. Like that takes admitting that you don't know everything. That takes humility. It takes a willingness to learn. And if you don't possess those things, you're very you're given to gratification too easily. You're unwilling to suffer. You're unwilling to have patience. So when the thing just falls apart, you don't care about it. You don't care about it anymore.
Yeah, it's because a lot of black folks are giving stuff for free from the government. So when it's like that, you don't really you didn't earn it, you didn't work hard for it, you don't really take care of it,
Yep.
I had a personal experience. I had a friend who gave me like the welding machine I have. He gave it to me. But the thing is, he gave it to me. It was busted. It needed some work. So first I offered to pay for it. I asked him how much do you want for it. They can maybe I could pay for it. I can fix it. He said no, you could just have it. And I had because I haven't had the same kind of indoctrination as a lot of some people. I actually worked at putting it back together and building up because I saw it being useful and what it could do for me in the future. But a lot of some people they have this mentality of, oh, you're always going to be a victim. You're not going to be, you can't improve your situation. Someone else has to do it for you. Someone owes you. They don't want to take the time to actually wait and learn and suffer to get something, to actually put something together that's long lasting, that actually does something good. They end up just supporting things that are destructive because I think it's just part of human nature just to destroy things. I think it takes some type of evolution away from that to actually be able to create things that actually are useful and long standing. But that's just my 2 cents.
Not having men around. There's no men around. That's what happens. Men teach kids patience and structure and stuff. So
men. I mean, a lot of societies where if it's very matriarchal, they lag behind because it tends to be the men who are actually the ones who are teaching structures, who are teaching how to keep things in order, how to keep things well maintained. And the thing is, and they do it in a way that they don't. It's not that they don't care about those who are kind of weak, but they try to find a place for those who are weaker than others to fill a different role, so that they don't feel useless, because that useless feeling is what will create resentment, and then that resentment turns into hate. But a lot of matriarchal societies or organizations, they tend to cater to they tend to cater to the lowest common denominator, to the sensibilities. They see them as
they
children.
don't last.
Yeah, they don't last. If they do last for some time, they're very primitive. It's very primitive, very janky, very thrown together.
Everything's
not ironed
impulse.
out.
Everything's on impulse. And
I've wanted Ox to play. There was a Survivor series where it was men versus women, and it was very telling on how men versus women organize and build things, and the outcomes of those two different groups competing against each other was like astronomically noticeable.
I think there was a video I watched. It was the exact same thing. The one thing I think the men should have done, the men's group, when they had it was like 2 guys who wanted to take from their resources to give to the women, they should have kicked them out. Right.
Yeah, the women ended up begging for food.
They should have kicked those guys out because they were subversive. They acted in a way that actually undermined the structural integrity of that group.
Yeah, those were the male feminists of our current social dynamic.
If they weren't going to kick them out, they should have kicked their ass to get them back in line. Because that's what it takes. And people who are subversive like that, they either have to be kicked out or get their ass kicked.
Yeah, bro. You gotta be ruthless in this world to survive, bro. That's just how it is.
Well, it has to be. It has to be. Well, it has to be controlled ruthlessness. I don't know. You don't need to be like Vlad the Impaler. You have to be. You have to just know when to properly apply it. Because if you don't, if it's it is very difficult. It's very difficult to keep it measured because you give too you're too strict. Nothing really grows. Things creativity stagnates. You can't be too loose because then structures start to fall apart. So it's that
I
balancing
don't
act
know.
between the
I
two.
live with a lot of sons, so like I gotta be ruthless because niggas out here don't play around.
No, I agree. I came from those same neighborhoods. I was the oddball. So thankfully, I was able to get out of it and
Yeah,
go to an area where I was able to flourish. I could that same ruthlessness would it would be wasted on someone like me.
yeah, yeah. But I know what you're talking about, though.
But that video that Ox showed us with that town in Indiana, if I'm not mistaken, it was Indiana, right? Yeah, they wanted to be they were subversive. They want to bring all those destructive qualities from those other left leaning neighborhoods. They want to bring it there because they don't know what to do with anything. They don't know what to do with what's good. They can't be good and constructive is useless to them. They don't like it.
I also think they feel inferior that their neighborhood is bad, so they want to bring everybody else down
That's
Yeah,
too.
they don't know how to make it better, and they hate having to live next to something that's better every day.
Yeah.
I mean, all these media groups like Vice and Slate and Vox, you notice they all are going to these predominantly white states and white institutions and white towns, and they're trying to create some sort of narrative to justify their destruction. And this is part of the Marxist revolution that's going on. Like they did the same thing at BYU, and they also went up there to some place in the Dakotas or something, somewhere in Idaho. They're constantly trying to undermine any sort of like productive glider community.
Yep.
It's not that difficult to fight against it. You have to have your values and you have to have your morals and values in line, and just simply stand up for them. You don't have to go straight to brutality to resist these subversive elements. Just go say no. Look, we're what we have is what we like what we have. Thank you for showing us what you're offering. No, thank you, and just keep it rolling. Because they always look for weak points to exploit. And if you just basically stand up for yourself, they see it as being, well, this is too tough for us to crack. Let's move on to something else.
Yeah, they try to rearrange what the moral authority is in the area or town or institution, and then when they establish themselves as the new moral authority, within the minds of the people in that area, they give up their right to their own destiny, and they let this new moral authority that they've acquiesced to dictate what the outcomes are going to be from thenceforth.
Yeah,
so
like
it's
sheep.
like, yeah, you turn people that are leading themselves in a productive way, you give them a moral authority in which their productive habits and outcomes are framed as immoral, and then you can do with them what you want. But that takes time, and you have to cultivate the right narratives within the right, demographics of whatever you're dealing with, whether it be, an LGBTQ narrative or Sun narrative or whatever it may be. You have to figure out who you're dealing with and how you can exploit them. It's like you notice early on when that Sun chick, the woke one, was talking to the Tiger guy, right? And she was disagreeing with him. And she was saying that like the reason that they teach what they teach is just to teach history. There's no sort of political agenda behind it. And the two examples she gave were, one was like the Chinese whatever act, and the second one was some sort of Sun Civil Rights Act thing. The reason she picked those two things were because she was dealing with a tiger and her being a Sun person. She was trying to create common ground in a dialogue to draw him into her way of thinking. That's how these people operate. She was trying to frame it as she has the moral authority, and this relates to him as well because he's an Asian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys ever notice that Sun men never complain once they make it out? I'm not talking about like athletes or anybody, but someone that had to grind and make it out. They never talk about trying to go back and, oh man, we need to.
No, because they have, because
Yeah.
they're, well, we're securing ourselves.
Yeah.
We recognize what we left behind was worth leaving behind, and we'll do all we can to not to go back to that way of living. And it takes work. We recognize it. We recognize it takes work. It takes accountability. It takes risk taking. It takes a lot. It takes a lot of those. It takes a lot of those
Patience.
good things. Patience. Self control. Delayed gratification. It takes all those good things that actually produce long term good results to keep from going back to that hellish reality.
Yeah, like Chief Keef. He left Chicago and went to LA. He never went back. He ain't been back since.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Facts.
He living good out there.
This is crazy though. This right here, this is absurd story, man.
A youth basketball team is banned from the Pacers Athletic Center after a shooting in the parking lot there on Sunday night. Now, thankfully, Westfield police say no one was injured, but several cars were damaged.
Fox 59's Max Lewis has some new information about what led up to this violence.
Everything is seemingly back to normal here at the Pacers Athletic Center after that shooting last night. Parents here tell us it was a fight during a game that spilled into the parking lot where those shots were fired, and officials say the team involved has been permanently banned. Westfield police were first called to the athletic facility at Grand Park around 6:30 Sunday night on reports of shots fired in the parking lot. Detectives have released almost no details about what happened, but several cars were hit by bullets, shattering windows. Crime scene investigators focused heavily on this sedan, but again, police haven't said why. Just what's your reaction to that happening?
That's wild. I've never seen anything like that here in the time we've came, so I'm kind of shocked.
When that shooting happened, the facility was packed with families attending youth basketball games, just as they were tonight.
Of course, I was so shocked, and it was scary, because I thought it was inside the building.
Parent Jing Sung first heard about what happened from fellow parents. She brings her son here several times a week and has never felt unsafe until now.
I've never heard about this before, It's really like new here, so it's unbelievable for me.
The Pacers Athletic Center, which is owned by Cardin Associates, has not returned our request for comment and this evening kicked us off the property.
So you're telling us we have to leave?
Yeah, we just want to keep our business
Do you
flowing.
guys own
We
that
have
building?
activity. We do not.
So we went across the...
Who thinks that this was a white shooter that the Pacers athletic facility people would be this standoffish? No news. We can't tell you anything. Get the fuck out of here. No comment. Kick rocks. They would tell you everything. They would tell you anything.
We all know that it's not a glider. So like that's just not even a possibility.
Well, the parents they talked to were not sons, but we still know it was sons, even though the team has been kicked out. The team has been banned. Unbelievable.
Is owned by Cardin Associates, has not returned our request for comment and this evening kicked us off the property.
So you're telling us we have to leave?
Yeah, we just want to keep our business
Do you
flowing.
guys own
We
that
have
building?
activity. We do not.
So we went across the street to continue speaking with parents who showed us a letter sent to them confirming the team involved in the shooting incident was removed from the league and banned from the facility. So many, though, still surprised that game time frustrations rose to that level.
It's just a sport. Just let your kids have fun. Enjoy it. They grow up too fast as it is.
We reached out to Westfield Police for any updated information, and they told us they had nothing to share with us and that this remains an active investigation. In Westfield, Max Lewis, Fox 59 News.
Max, thank you.
And who was shot and killed last night.
A Fox 59 crime tracker alert tonight.
Get to breaking news we are covering tonight. An 11-year-old boy is dead after a shooting on the west side of South Bend. WSPT 22's Paige Barnes is live for us right now on North Johnson Street. Paige, this is still a very active scene.
Jennifer, we've seen the homicide unit go in and out, and currently there are detectives taking photographs of the front door of the house. And behind me, the crime scene is blocked off at the corner of Longley Avenue and Johnson Street. And in the street right now, there are some equipment that we're unsure that is being used to continue this investigation. And neighbors are most definitely still awake. A few of them were on their porches earlier. The house next door to the shooting had people come out, and they told me that they are headed to the police department. Now, a woman who alleges her grandson is the best friends with the victim suspects it's a drive-by, as no other victims have been reported. Now, a neighbor that I spoke to who is catty-corner to this house said that she heard rapid fire gunshots, about 10 to 20 of them. I asked her for more details, and she said she heard the gunshots, screaming, and then police sirens. Now, there's still a lot that we don't know. Now, police haven't confirmed if the suspect or a suspect has been taken into custody and if there are other victims. As we continue to work on this, continue our coverage live in South Bend, I'm Paige Barnes, WSBT 22 News.
Smash.
A courthouse is normally a quiet place. But the family and friends of the little 11-year-old Tian Holston came out those doors, letting the world know just.
Who wants this in
Can
Carmen?
you run that back, Ak?
Yeah, I mean, who wants this in their city? Who wants this in their city? Fuck. All right, the shooting is bad enough. But this is how they act at the court building. You have to be raised around this to be able to deal with that. Gliders that are raised in Carmel, the Carmels of the world, and cities like that, this is unfair to bring these people around them. They can't compete with these people. They have to move. This is white flight. When you start, when black people come around, this is why there's white flight. Platinum Pig, salute to Platinum Pig, Ak Nation Hall of Fame, which says, somebody should tell DEI lady that somebody used the N-word up in Dead Horse, Alaska, and there might have been a swastika scratched in the snow. Yeah, man. Yeah, man, Siberia, man. Somebody, it's a rope hanging somewhere in Siberia, man. Go check it out.
A courthouse is normally a quiet place. But the family and friends of the
Unintelligible
Tian Holston came out
yelling.
those doors, letting the world know justice is coming.
We can't do nothing. He can't do nothing. But if he can't give us Tian back, hurry up for court. He might as well just go on and plead guilty.
Tian was shot multiple times, resulting in his death in the 600 block of North Johnson Street. While that happened back on April 20th, charges were just filed 2 weeks ago against 18-year-old Dominic Williams Jr.
Will I be able to forgive this young man? I doubt it. And I know the Bible tells me that I'm supposed to forgive, but I'm going to have to work on that one. That's something I'm going to have to work on. Man? Because right now, forgiveness is not in my heart.
According to court documents,
She said young man, but it sounded like son man.
Charger. The car was reported stolen by its owner, and Williams is said to be the only other person who drove it. Cell phone records also placed Williams in the area at the time of the shooting. However, Williams' defense attorney, Jeffrey Kimmel, doesn't believe the facts listed in the court documents are strong enough and that bond could have been an option. Quote, "The facts alleged in this particular affidavit are not strong. There's no indication that he's made any statements that would be incriminating, no indication that anybody actually identified him." While Kimmel says there's doubt in the documents that his client committed the act, Tian's family believes law enforcement has the right man.
And this justice is going to be served. They already caught him. Let's ride for the rest of it.
It's breaking news.
We just different, bro.
Large
Black
groups
folks
of
just
teenagers
different.
gathered different places around South.
Yeah, man.
Large groups of teenagers gathered different places around South Bend, much like what South Bend police is calling a disturbance over the holiday weekend, where cell phone video captured teenagers out of control Sunday evening. The issue, according to Joshua Morgan, the president of the Fraternal Order of Police, is when
Black people,
the wrong groups cross paths and fighting starts. As 5 kids fighting turns to 10 or 20, and before you know it, it's a brawl. And police are...
the issue is black people, not the wrong groups crossing paths, and 5 turning into 10 and 10 turning into 20. Come on, man. You don't have these problems in Carmel, the Carmels of the world.
Much like what South Bend police is calling a disturbance over the holiday weekend, where cell phone video captured teenagers out of control Sunday evening. The issue, according to Joshua Morgan, the president of the Fraternal Order of Police, is when the wrong groups cross paths and fighting starts. As 5 kids fighting turns to 10 or 20, and before you know it, it's a brawl. And police are outnumbered.
Realistically, to get every single kid, probably not. But I would say that you would probably want to get the biggest agitators, the ones that are causing the most problems.
The FOP says the Juvenile Justice Center works on a point system, and this type of behavior is not enough for the JJC to detain them. So for the teenagers they do get, officers have to make calls to parents and often wait with each kid, which can take hours.
Not having this place to immediately deal with the situation at hand, it makes it kind of difficult because, you know, in order for somebody to kind of face the consequences, per se, you need to be able to identify them.
Departments are pooling 15 or even 20 officers responding to these calls, tying up resources for other calls. Police say it's not just difficult, but dangerous. Morgan says there's no one way to fix it, but additional manpower and resources for officers would be a good start. Also, accountability from parents, something Seth Moss, an expert in helping kids reach success, agrees with, even if it isn't your own child.
Kids get to this point because, you know, what's on the inside comes out. It's our responsibility as a community. It takes a village. We've got
facts. What's on the inside comes out.
Always an excuse.
Yeah, DNA. Listen, man, you don't have these problems. This is a small town, South Bend. It's not like a huge city. This is where Notre Dame is. It's just a small college town.
It's a beautiful place.
Townies. Yeah, and these are the townies. Yikes. These are the townies.
If you're in a different group, you would get treated as an enemy.
The men tell WSPT 22 that there are a lot of groups in South Bend. What group you're in is often something you do not control. Family and geography are driving factors.
That's my blood family, so why not be with them? Or, you know, we went to school and we grew up together most of the time. We did bad stuff together, or, you know what I'm saying, we had that bond since we was little kids together. They already got this area picked out, so you come here, you got to be over here with us, or you got to leave, basically.
During the interview, the men would not call themselves a gang, rather groups, but there is a distinction about what type of group it is.
You can go around with friends, y'all had genuine times, you'll just be playing the game or just hanging out together or whatever y'all doing, going to the mall, or just stuff like that. That's a group of friends. But when you got a group, y'all not doing that. So it's you'll find out sooner or later. I found out sooner or later.
You become a part of a group at a young age, something they said that they experienced. It isn't until you're older that you understand the implications.
Young, you don't really know nothing, but when you get older and they put you on that reel, you got to go through these phases and see what's really happening.
How hard is it to change the course of your life when you get into these groups?
Sometimes it's really hard because like once you get in the group, you can't change from it or none of that.
Yeah,
you can't
especially like when you're younger.
Yeah.
You don't really know. You don't really know when you're younger. That's all you really know. That was a long time ago. I found out at an earlier age, you know. Thank you that I did, but it's like it's still the same people. You know what I mean? They grow up and this is what they want to do. This is what little kids want to do to this day. People younger than me and him. People younger than my little brother and sisters, you know what I'm saying? That's what we see on the internet. That's what we see music. That's what we see. So that's what they want to do, but you need more people around, like, you know what I'm saying, to come and give them that same energy.
So what made D and B sit down with us? They say that they're redirecting their lives and showing that you can overcome anything. For B, it was time spent in jail that changed his trajectory.
Is the greater fear going and spending extended periods of time in a prison or being killed on the street?
Really both of them, because you'll never know your next move.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's why you gotta find out what you want to do. If you want to go and be in the streets, you know your move. You know what's gonna happen. You want to go be with these people or do this to these people, you know what's gonna happen. You know what I mean? But you stay out the way. You staying positive. You know what I mean? Going to work. You on that good path, you know what's gonna happen. You ain't doing nothing but being good on that good path, so good things gonna happen.
We asked the men their advice to others. They said that you can't tell anyone what to do and that people need to make decisions for themselves, but they'll eventually learn it isn't worth it.
What would you say to your younger self then, looking back?
I say that all the time. That's crazy. I mean, you never really know. I never really know what I would say. Just stay strong.
I don't really know what to say, but like for my younger self, I don't really know what to say back then, but I just know what I know now.
The meeting between D and B was an unlikely one that ended with a handshake and a message to one another, a gesture and a message many hope will start a chain reaction.
I just want to say my bad, fam, whatever it was. Even though it probably ain't our fault, you know what I'm saying? Whatever it is, I apologize for everybody over there.
I'm John Paul. Thanks for watching. Here's another video for you to watch.
Wow.
Yo, at the time it was fun. That's why they said they went to
Large.
Yeah, that was the best time of their life. When they're 50 years old and they're sitting in a fold-out chair on the front porch, I'm like, man, we was wild, and back then, man, them shit was crazy. It was fun as hell. we was getting head and stolen cars, and we was knocking crackers upside the head, and we was stealing shit off people's porch. Shit was wild. Shit was live, cuz.
Yeah, but you see the difference though, right? Like those people in Carmel, they see these people from a distance.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't get to talk to them kids one-on-one like those two kids that are turning their lives around or whatever. They just see that stuff from a distance. And then it's like one day this happens, and the next day that happens. And they're not like in the projects where 1,000 things are happening that never make the news. They're just seeing the news stories, the newsworthy things. And it's gotta be like, yo, these people are fucking animals.
It was really a cop-out for them to call them groups instead of gangs.
Yeah, they knew what they were doing. They were finessing that stupid bitch.
Yeah, definitely. Without that, and she's probably gonna go forward with that. Well, they're not gangs; they're groups.
Yeah, she'll educate everybody, every glider dude she meets now. That's like, oh, you mean them little gang banging thugs? Like, no, they're groups. They're groups. Listen, Trevor, they're groups. They're not gangs.
And when they commit crimes, they're groups.
Yeah, exactly.
Are you racist? Be asking.
It's just like, yo, like I just don't know how they think people from a distance view that are not supposed to make judgments on that. When you can make a judgment on them if there's a swastika written in chalk on a ground in a corner somewhere, or if there's like a rope hanging from a fucking garage door somewhere. You get to judge them for that, but they can't judge you for this shit. Just crazy. Salute to Doug Chunks. He said, here's for the hit the like button before leaving challenge. Salute. Yeah, everybody hit the like button. Salute to Doug Chunks. Op Nation Hall of Famer Jerry Judge Hines. $5 challenge met by the SG Sunman. I have friends and family that seem genuinely incapable of real empathy. Black people struggle with this. Yeah. It just is what it is, man. There's no hope for this stuff to change because these people are savages.
There's something wrong with their mind.
And holding each other.
Exactly. And something wrong with their DNA. This is South Bend, Indiana. This is yo. Hey, we're from Indiana. We live in an all-white town. There's no crime. There's a town over there with mostly whites, but a larger percentage of blacks. Like, it's not an all-black town, but it's got more blacks than we do. And this is what's happening there.
Door knocking and holding each other accountable. It's a new approach on a neighborhood watch enacted by many who live on Huey Street. They say that with the help of police, they are hopeful for the future.
But this community has been going to hell slowly but surely.
It's been chaotic. I don't really go outside like that. Neighbors say shootings and violence are not uncommon, especially when parties take place.
We can't get no sleep. Right, yeah. So we up to 3, 4 in the morning.
I experienced a few incidents. I seen with my own eyes, next door neighbor. I seen some killings. I see a couple of friends of mine laying on the ground, shot, senseless killing, couple stabbings.
On Saturday, when cars packed Huey for a gathering and neighbors noticed the disturbance, they called police to be present and talk to each other about keeping the guns away.
What's on the menu? Death, shooting, a beatdown. So I use my humor to be able to get them to lower their weapons and things like that. And I asked them, I said, every time we do this, it's always a shooting. And I said, it's not police shooting us. I said, we're shooting each other.
Roosevelt Stewart lives on Huey Street. He thinks that the police presence made a difference and has made it his mission to let people know.
If we can just have them guys out here just park, that'll get somebody on their conscience to say, wait a minute, I better think twice. And I would rather have them.
Think about that. It has to be a cop car there to make them think twice, not to stop it. Just make them think twice. This is a whole different ball game, but these people are different than the other people.
Sisters will call him a sellout.
Yeah,
I mean, asking for the cops to be there.
A snitch.
Snitch, yeah. Now the sun man in the community.
These people are different, man. And where's that fucking broad with the 8 feet of fucking horsehair in her head coming over here, telling these people to that gliders are pretty nice and they're not all bad, and you gotta think about, you know, being incorporating glider morals and shit into your society. Where's she coming over here with that shit?
Nowhere. That's too constructive.
Oh, it's dangerous over here, Jack.
Yeah, she wouldn't get very far doing that. And plus, she wouldn't get no money, no funding from no Juice Crew.
Well, she get funded if she was coming over here to
Pander.
Yeah.
Roosevelt Stewart lives on Huey Street. He thinks that the police presence made a difference and has made it his mission to let people know.
If we can just have them guys out here just park, that'll give somebody on their conscience to say, wait a minute, I better think twice. And I would rather have them thinking twice than to only think once, and then we all sitting out here crying.
Neighbors say that a weekend without a shooting on Huey Street is a success, but there is still
a weekend without a shooting is a success. On this street, not in the whole city, not in the neighborhood, just on this one street. If we cannot have a shooting in the weekend, we've done a great thing. And just think about how many streets there are like this in this little city.
Some are blood.
more work to
DNA.
be done.
We need protection from ourselves because it's just one look or one conversation.
Save us, Zaddy. Save us.
Salute to this brother, man. He's dropping some gems, though, man. He's dropping gems.
To be done.
We need protection from ourselves because it's just one look or one conversation can lead into a gunshot or somebody's dead. So we all realizing this and we awoken to this and we all want to embrace it and we all want to give it a shot.
While Saturday was busy and not perfect, some neighbors do have something they didn't have on Friday: hope.
If we walk together, we work together, and we talk together, I think it'll be fine.
I talked to South Bend Police today. A spokesperson told me that they're thankful for community support and the willingness to work once again with police. Police say no call is too small. At the live.
Oh, God. It's laughable, man. These people, it's literally like a clown show, man. Like, are you serious, man?
Yeah, if Black Lives Matter spent a fraction of that energy in these neighborhoods, it'd be fixed overnight. You know?
How? I don't think money can fix this, man.
Yeah, I think those type of people know that it's a lost cause, and they would never devote that type of energy into actually doing anything other than grifting.
Yeah, money can't fix this, bro.
If you can get more police over there, maybe.
Black Lives Matter would just destroy the place.
Nah, money ain't gonna fix this. More police, and then they'll be crying about the police. Then
That's true. That's true.
You know what happens when police
They shooting people.
Somebody gonna get killed by the cop. Yo, they're gonna make a cop kill.
And all these some people complaining right now will turn and be mad at the police. Yeah,
exactly. That same guy will be fucking whining about the cops.
I take it back.
They killed Pookie.
Yeah, it's like we want police, but you kill Pookie. You can't be killing Pookie.
And Pookie got like 4 bodies and shit. And Pookie's a fucking degenerate piece of shit. And they'll still be protesting over. Salute to everybody, man. Great show. Same bad time, same bad channel. I'm out of here. Peace.
Peace out, everybody.